If you've ever woken up to a fresh coating of snow and it made you smile, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back. It most likely made you mad because I struggle to find people that actually like snow, and I seem to be in the minority. But here in Chicago, we got a blizzard incoming here today. We got a fresh blanket of snow, and I could not be more stoked. We also have CPI coming here this morning. We got Tim Melvin this morning. We got a lot to do. We got a market to trade, and there's money to be made. So let's get to it. Good morning and welcome back, folks. Happy Wednesday or happy hump day, happy CPI day, whatever you call it. Hopefully you're having a good morning here. Welcome back, Peter. I am here, coffee in my life also. Peter, it sounds like you're living the high life then, because that is great. You're up early, you're breathing, and you've got coffee. Hard to argue with that, boss. Welcome back. Mudiagan. Good morning. I hope that I did not butcher your name. Good morning. Welcome back. MH, good morning. Go crypto. I'm a crypto bull here. I would love to see the crypto market really put in some new highs across the way. I'm with you on that. No new trades planned for that yet, but I'm with you on that. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Austin, good morning. Kayla, welcome back. Good morning. Summer of 63, awesome handle. Good morning. I don't remember the summer of 63. Sun-Kissed Yogi, welcome back. Hugh, it's good to see you. Tanya, good as always. Yassine, are you enjoying the snow, Yassine? Wink. Maybe I'm just the minority there. Chuck, welcome back. Paul, it's good to see you. Jim, Glenn, Brandy, welcome back. Shadow One, welcome back. Hustle and Bustle, welcome back. How's the house selling going? How's the market looking? White Chocolate Mocha, good morning. Bigga Bees, let's get it. I'm curious to know what you have on deck for today. Harris, welcome back. Nomad, good morning. Lou, Strong Island 85. I love the handles here. You folks are awesome. Ed, welcome back. Javon, welcome back. Hopefully I got that right. ATL Russ in the house. Welcome back. Last time I talked to you, Russ, I think it was rainy and cold in Atlanta. Hopefully you've got some better weather here today. Good morning, boss. Welcome back. Larry, welcome back. XE Media, welcome back. Seahorse Trading, Hardwig, and Joe, welcome back. Joe, first time viewer. I've seen you on Trader TV and you said you own mostly small caps. What is your best small cap stock you've bought ever? Dude, I was not ready for the hard questions early. The best small cap stock I bought ever was probably Super League Gaming, SLGG, years ago. I think I started buying that around 101, finished selling it at about 12. So we had a 10x plus on the equity. That really gave me a shot in the arm. But my best trade ever was Apple from 2014, and I'm still long. Joe, hopefully you enjoy yourself here. We're going to be looking at a lot of small caps today. So if that's your jam, you're in luck. Day Trader, good morning. Nicholas, good morning. Captain Cloudy, good morning. And all sorts, good morning. Archoff, good morning. All right, let's just get right to it here. We got a lot going on. Let me turn my screen on. Boom. All right. As mentioned here, we're going to take a look at the SPY. We're going to break down some of the news. We got Tim Melvin coming on here at 8:30. We also have the CPI print at 8:30, so I'll make sure I get you those numbers. And we'll go from there. I don't have a ton here today. We do have some movers. I don't have like a ton of news outside of earnings. So I suspect we're going to be able to do some pretty significant ticker time, I would guess between 9 and 9:30 prior to the open. We'll see how it all shakes out. But that's the plan, at least as of right now. Okay. First things first, the SPY. We are still in I guess we could still call this a mother candle, right? We are still inside the candle from Friday. It's great that we're actually above the 50-day moving average. It's great that we're above the 20-day moving average, but we're still operating inside Friday's candle here. And really for the next big move, we want to break out or break down from that candle. Now, I'm hoping that the CPI is going to give enough of a oomph a catalyst, be enough of a catalyst for us to do that. Because honestly, if we're really going to have a broad-based trade here, whether it's a rally or a breakdown, we want to see some more movement here. So this is kind of what I'm looking for. I'm sorry for repeating myself, but really nothing's changed here with any of the SPY levels. They're all the same. I think, in fact, the 50-day yesterday was 598.50. So it's up by 25 cents here today. So nothing has really changed. We'll keep an eye on some of these levels and see if they do change. But as of right now, nothing's really changed here with the SPY. Now, a quick look around the market is actually kind of interesting here. The market was a little soft when I woke up here. So 5 a.m. Eastern time? 6 a.m., between 5 and 6 a.m. Eastern time. This was actually pretty weak. And the interesting note is that we've actually turned higher now. So it was pretty much flattish. S&P futures now up 0.04. They were down about 0.15% earlier. The Dow's lagging a little bit, but it's only down 0.04. And then the NASDAQ here is actually leading the way, as it has the past several days, up by 0.25%. So we turned positive here. The caveat is that we obviously did this before the CPI print. So let's see what the CPI print does to change some of the calculus here. That print coming 24 minutes from now. So we'll see where that ends up going here when we actually get that data. Now, as far as the market overview, the headline that we released today, U.S. stocks set for a cautious start ahead of the inflation data. Expert says, quote, strong bull markets tend to roar back to life after corrections, end quote. So, okay, a couple of things there. First of all, I completely agree with this analyst. If we are still in a raging bull market or a very strong bull market, then even if we do correct 5 or 10%, we should come roaring back. And, I would say that it would look something like this, right? The sell-off that we got in the end of July and beginning of August that took us to the August 5th low. I believe this was the yen carry trade low that we printed here. This is exactly what the analyst is describing, right? We have this nice little pullback. In fact, how much was that on a percentage basis? Let's check here real quick. Pulled back almost 10%, 9.5% here on the SPY over the matter of a couple of weeks. And look what happened. It roared back, and it was pretty broad-based, right? It was tech really that took us higher, but there were a lot of components there that ended up trading higher, and we went right to new highs and traded along this trend line. Now that we're kind of choppy up here, you could make the case that maybe the market reverses, right? Maybe this is much like when we see a bottom and we see a bottom getting carved out with some back and forth price action and then it reverses. The same thing can happen at potential tops. But the other thing is that this very well, especially if we get good news on the inflation front or anything like that, or anything that the market really likes, let's just call it certainty at this point, we could actually take another leg higher. There was some talk about the Russia-Ukraine war possibly coming to an end sooner rather than later. Several of the members in Benzinga Pro were having a fairly general discussion yesterday about what the market might do if we see that. Now, I don't have any information on how close we are to that. I'm just telling you about the discussion that we had as a group here. There's actually some mixed opinions. Several people thought that, and I'm in this camp, that if we get any type of headline about that conflict in Europe resolving, market probably takes a leg higher. But that might be short-lived as realities of the market and the economy start to set in. Maybe we pull back from that. So just, again, a couple of things to look at here. In the immediate future, obviously, we have the CPI. The headline consumer price index is forecasted to remain at 2.9% year over year, based on estimates. Monthly inflation is expected to increase by 0.3 or 0.3%, a slight deceleration from December's 0.4 rise. So that's kind of what we're looking for. The table is set. We'll see what kind of print we actually get from that, and we'll see how the market actually responds to it. So actually, on one of my charts here, I have a SPY candle. Yeah, it looks like it's little bit of a pull there. So again, all of this shenanigans until we actually get the print here, and that's 21 minutes away. Couple more people filing in here. Awesome to see. Bernhard, hello. Diamond Hotline, hello. Reaching Financial Freedom. It is a great day for everyone. Indeed, conditionally accepted. Hello. Maverick and Harpreet, hello. So awesome. let's get rolling here. Okay, next thing that I have here is going to be on SMCI, right? And this is, we've covered this pretty much on the huge run up on AI on the back of NVIDIA and all of that stuff, through the short report, through the audit change and all of that stuff here. They actually reported some earnings. So Supermicro eyes 440 billion in revenue despite the regulatory heat. The auditor exit CEO calls it conservative estimation, and they released their earnings report. So the big takeaway from this story, just right off the top, Supermicro, and actually aren't we calling this? Oh, that was MicroStrategy. I beg your pardon. Anyway, Supermicro expects to file its delayed financial reports by the February 25th deadline. So remember, they missed an entire earnings report. The stock got absolutely crushed, and rightfully so on that. They're telling you that they are going to file their delayed report by the deadline. So that's positive here. The stock did actually turn positive last night, with management maintaining that an independent special committee found no evidence of fraud. So again, this is one that we've been talking about. They fired one auditor, they brought another one in, the special committee or people from the board, maybe there's some shenanigans there, et cetera, et cetera. We'll see how it ends up shaking out here. But they did release, or there's some preliminary reports, and they do look to file by the deadline here. So let's actually go back to Pro real quick. We'll take a look at SMCI. First of all, one of the things that we talked about in Happy Hour yesterday is whether or not this is a trade, whether or not you as an investor or trader feel good about holding this, in particular overnight. I think the consensus was here that this definitely makes for a good day trading vehicle because it's volatile all the time and it responds to headlines. But really the question is, do we feel safe with the long-term story here at SMCI, and do we feel comfortable holding this stock overnight and exposing ourselves to some of that overnight risk? If we take a look here at where we're at, stock's up 13.6% today. Okay, let's take a look really quickly at the numbers and we'll discuss some of the chart there. Supermicro sees preliminary Q2 adjusted EPS 58 cents to 60 cents. Net sales 5.6 to 7 billion. Also, Supermicro announced a private placement of 700 million of new 2.25 convertible senior notes due in 2026, and announces an amendment to the existing 0% convertible senior notes due 2029. So it looks like they're trying to make sure that they have funding for everything. They've got enough cash for everything. It looks like they're actually trying to do the right thing, but I completely empathize with you as a trader or investor that until they really prove it, maybe it's a no touch. That's kind of where I'm at. Not saying that I wouldn't day trade it, but I am not willing to say that, yeah, you know what, I'm going to hold this here for the long term. Okay. Big B is saying they have great guidance, but they have those papers. Otherwise, it's trash. But when they do, it's going to rip. And so this is kind of what we're waiting for, right? Like if the thought here, or the probable outcome here is that if they do kind of clear up all of this nonsense or all of this uncertainty, this is a potential ripper. And I'll be honest with you, just kind of judging by how this stock is performing here today. There we go. Just judging by how this stock is performing here today, totally think that is the case. Look what happened yesterday. Right when we reported the number, the first move here was down, and this thing reversed hard. And we were actually, this is a 10-point reversal, or 26% reversal, just in a matter of a couple of minutes here. Now, if we take a look at the daily chart, the picture becomes a little bit more interesting, right? We're trading up today. We're actually 1 cent away from the 500-day moving average. It's worth noting that the last time we tested this level, we were able to get above, kind of retested it, tried to move higher, but the 100-day came in and slapped us back down to reality, and we've been unable to take that 500-day out again until maybe today. So it looks like we're going to test that here today. My question is going to be, if we take this out, do we have the same type of action that we had here? What was this? Back in December. Maybe we take out the 500-day, get 1 or 2 closes above that to turn that former resistance into support. And I would say our next target up here at about 54. So again, we'll see where SMCI goes. I would definitely put what we got yesterday in the positive bucket, but I would say that we are not out of the woods, and it sure seems like you folks kind of have a similar opinion there. Joe here saying SMCI is a buy, in my opinion. It was 120 at one point. And so I get it. And I think then also this plays into exactly why we're kind of sitting here playing the waiting game, thinking, you know what, if they clean some of this stuff up, they actually do make really good server racks for those that are familiar with the product itself. And I believe that they are really good at customizing it, if I recall correctly. I don't shop for server racks often, so forgive me. I'm trying to go from secondhand information here. But in any case, we have clearly identified this thing does have a massive potential. So, Joe, I'm with you, I understand your trade plan here. If you're able to hammer out the risk part of your equation here, there definitely is a reward side of the equation here that looks pretty attractive. But that requires a lot of ifs to go in the right way. What we got yesterday, step 1 of 1, and I would definitely put that in the positive bucket. Okay. This should be a 5Xer from where it is today, Bigabee. So, Joe, to your point about the previous range up to 120, Bigabee's here saying it should be a 5Xer, 200 really, but I'm not going to risk capital on trash. So, look, the varying opinions are what makes a market. It sounds to me like we have this right in the crosshairs of where we want it. There's no reason why, if we get more information, that our opinion cannot change. If we are deriving our opinions based on sound data, then I think it's okay if we change those opinions if new data is presented. That seems to be the step that we're at here with SMCI. Okay, 14 minutes until Tim Melvin and the CPI print. Let's take a look at Lyft, and my heart, it hurts. I thought for sure I was like, wow, I think I hooked an options trade here off of unusual activity, and it worked from the outset. So again, just a reminder here, what I was looking to trade here in Lyft, the April 20 calls, and I paid $0.25 per call for them. Those were almost a double at one point on this recent run up. We came back in. We were really weak yesterday. We were actually down almost 5% ahead of the earnings. And then the earnings came out, and look at where we are. So I'm curious to know if any of you folks are going to trade Lyft. I don't think we've seen Izzy here yet. However, I know he trades Uber all the time. I know we look at Uber all the time. Lyft here, I do think there's a trade here, but I want to be careful. I'm obviously still, my calls are likely going to get obliterated unless we have some type of announcement between now and April. At this point, I'm not even counting on that. From the chart, I'm kind of already thinking about the next trade here. We lost all of these moving averages, the 100, the 50, the 200, the 20, and the 500. And we lost the near-term low that we put in here on January 13th of this year. So it looks to me like, let's actually just go ahead and add these to the chart here. I got next spot here, $12. And actually, did we trade beneath 12 earlier? No, we didn't. We're still above $12. So I have that $12 area next. Then I would have right down here, let's call it 1058. If you want to call it 1050, I'd be fine with that. And then ultimately here down at 9. So these levels should offer some support should Lyft continue to break down. And, what I'd be looking at here for the next trade is, can we actually get some type of bounce? Now, let's actually talk about the report here. Lyft, Q4 earnings. I'm actually going to flip over to that here too. Q4 earnings, it was a revenue beat. Gross bookings were up 15%, and there was a new buyback. The CEO said, quote, "Our biggest competition is inertia." So they reported some pretty good earnings, but their guidance was a little soft. And I actually have a graphic here for you as well. We're going to dive into some more of the numbers here, but check this out. Check out this graphic. Saw this one here, caught up this morning when I was looking at Lyft. Over the past 15 months, Uber added 29 million monthly active customers. That's more active customers than Lyft has in total. Looks like Uber is moving closer and closer to monopoly status. And here is a chart to kind of help you visualize that. So while the CEO is telling you all of the good news here, I think it's really important to keep it in context of where it's at versus its competitors. And as you can see here, Uber is beating the brakes off of Lyft. Now, could something change this? Sure, it's going to take a lot of work. I don't necessarily think that that's going to happen here in the near term. But again, when we saw some of those unusual options, one of the rumors that I had heard floating around in the ether out there was a potential merger or takeover with DoorDash that might actually help get to some of these monthly active consumer numbers. I don't even know if that's going to work, and I don't know if that's going to happen. But here you go. I think this chart was pretty damning, frankly. All right, let's go back to the report here. Producer threw that in the chat, so if you want to hang on to this, go ahead. There was another quote in here. I didn't pull it. Here we go. 2024 was a record-smashing year for Lyft. Thanks to our industry-leading service levels, we helped 44 million people across the U.S. and Canada get off their tukuses. Okay, that sounds good. It's accurate. We just showed you context to put that in context. So I don't expect the CEO to come out and say, yeah, our business is crappy, right? I certainly don't expect that, but let's keep some of these numbers in context with where it's at. Some more numbers here for Lyft. Total revenue was up 27% on a year-over-year basis. Gross bookings totaled $4.3 billion in the quarter, and which was up 15% year-over-year. Active riders totaled 24.7 million in the fourth quarter, up 10% year-over-year, and total rides came in above 219 million, which was also up 15% year-over-year. So good numbers, but all of those numbers were in the past. They had a weak guide, and like we said, context is everything. It seems. So this is kind of where we're at in Lyft. Not going to get a party or a partial sale on the option position today. We'll see if it rebounds. We'll see if any of these support levels that we've identified end up coming to fruition. Okay. I'm here. I'm not in Lyft or looking. Yeah, why would you be? Uber all the way. Izzy, no Lyft. No, of course not. You're an Uber guy. Joe, sold my Uber at 78 on Monday. That seemed like a good trade. Uber's actually been on a really good move here, and you're in the right spot too, because one of our members here trades Lyft often. Trades Uber often. God, Lyft on the brain. Can't even get it up. I feel like that puts Lyft at a buy spot, Nick is saying. So I like the way that you're thinking here. We did the one thing that I would caution in terms of the buy spot, at least one of the things that I'm looking at here, we really did have kind of a clean break of a lot of these things that I would call support, right? I would definitely look at a previous low as support if the stock can hold it there. I would definitely look at the 500 as an area of support. It didn't have any of that, right? We just cracked right through it. So what level can this hold? If we see any evidence of one of those support levels holding, then I would agree with you. I think you might have a buy. I think you might have a buy opportunity there. Okay. Is there? Okay. It's a dating website for people who trade. Not that I'm aware of, but you might have just stumbled across a business idea there. Let me know if that works out. Okay, let's see. We're 7 minutes away from the CPI print and Mr. Melvin. Let's take a look at Tesla, which is also having kind of a wild pre-market here. So first of all, Tesla, we talked about this yesterday, and I told you, hey, I think we might actually get some support from 335 if it gets down there. Well, it got down there all right, and it didn't really find much support around 335. It really just kind of took that out as Tesla continued to pound the lows yesterday. Interestingly enough, if we look inside here today, here's what I'm talking about. Yesterday, we just kind of traded all the way down. Here's the 335 line, and there were a couple of attempts. If you look at some of these candles, it does look like it tried to bounce, but I mean, when it was all said and done, that really wasn't much of a support, to be quite honest with you. This morning here, we actually drifted a little bit lower before ramping and turning around here. So Tesla Q1 deliveries could drop below 400,000 as brand sentiment takes a hit, says researcher. So, okay, maybe that's the case, right? Maybe the delivery numbers can get hit here. We do have that story. Let's see. I expect Tesla deliveries in this quarter to be below 400,000 units. There are 4 negative and 1 positive factor affecting some of those deliveries. So there you go. I know Tesla is a frequently traded stock, I guess is the right word here. Plenty of volatility. Actually had a pretty good move here today. The volume pop that it had this morning actually represented a pretty good short-term trade if you're doing that. I do want to see how the stock responds around the opening print here today. That actually should set the tone for today. And one level that I'm definitely going to be looking at here, this 327, right? I know we closed yesterday 328.5, but I'm looking at probably this 327 level, which is where we consolidated in the after hours. If we can hold 327.5, perhaps we do get a bounce here. On that. Harris saying short Tesla and holding puts, looking good in the short term for that position. Indeed, Harris, what I would ask you, what's your exit strategy on that, right? Because clearly you've got that move. Ever since we really broke away from this 380 here, it's been nothing but downside action here for Tesla. So at some point, this is going to, reverse back to the mean, bounce a little bit. We do have a fib level down here at 311. Maybe that's your spot to bounce. We have another fib level down here at 283. We have the 200-day at 270. Both of those levels seem to be like levels that they could bounce from. But the other thing is we've got a gap that doesn't fill to about 251. So we have several levels in here where this thing could really kind of find its footing. And I don't need to tell you folks how great Tesla can be when we're actually trading it well. So we'll see. Izzy's mentioning here the CEO for Lyft is on CNBC right now. I shared some of his comments with you. I tried to give you some more context with it. Again, I want to hear from CEOs because I want them to tell me what's going on at the business, but I just think it's important to take some things with a grain of salt. I understand it. When I first started using ride shares, I had a much better experience with Lyft. But I'll be honest with you, the availability just wasn't as good. And frankly, when I'm trying to call a ride share, I call it an Uber. That's another thing. It's like Kleenex. When I'm trying to call a ride share, I'm normally in a hurry. So if I have to wait extra time or can't find a ride in general, that's generally a non-starter for me. And I think Uber does a really good job of not having that happen. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see if this responds. Lyft down 13.3% here, and that is up off the lows. So, wow. Okay. Tesla, I don't know. Do we have anything else on this? We also had some news about inflation fears. Larry Summers is out there scaring the hell out of people again. I found this one interesting. Peter Schiff, who's wanted to be short since 2016. That hasn't gone well for him. They're quoted in this article. They're not, these are smart guys. It's just, I don't know. They seem to beat the same drum. Eventually, they're going to be right? Eventually, the market's going to turn around and correct, and they're going to be like, see, this is what I was saying for all those years while I missed hundreds of percent in possible trades. I go back to the show's motto. It's really turned into the show's motto at this point. It's okay to be wrong. We're all going to be wrong. I make many mistakes. I'm going to be wrong. I've been wrong in the past. I'm going to be wrong in the future. It's just not okay to stay wrong. And I think that if you're in some of these bearish camps and oh my God, the world's going to end in the market, it just hasn't worked for you. And if you can't beat them, join them. Sorry, don't really have much here. Larry Summers has been banging the same drum for a long time. Larry Summers and Peter Schiff warn of rising inflation risks as the market slash Fed rate cuts expectations. It's the most sensitive moment. Okay. Cool story, bro. Next here is going to be Meta. Let's take a look here at Meta. This thing just totally hot. Has been a great trade. Not my favorite stock. I know I say it all the time. I just don't like the product. But it's hard to argue with the stock performance here. Really is. Meta stock surges 17.4% in 17 days. Look at this run. Just awesome. Marking one of its longest winning streaks. And analysts say that there's still more room for double-digit growth for Zuck's company here. Well, if we take a look there, I don't think we should be surprised at all to hear that it's Dan Ives saying that they're in a very strong position to monetize AI over the coming years as Zuck drives his vision and puts massive CapEx behind its AI initiative. Now, I don't want to poo-poo this because I do think that AI could be, really great. There could be some really great applications, and I'm excited. But we'll see. We'll see here on Meta, and we'll see if Zuck does it. Zuck does it correctly here. Average price target among 43 analysts tracked here by Benzinga is 731, and it has a buy rating, so some pretty good fundamental stats there. We'll see where Meta goes. We'll see where, I'd be curious, and producer, maybe we should put together a poll question for this. I'd be curious to know how many people are bullish or bearish versus Meta. And I guess what I would ask here, what do we think happens first? 800 or 600 as far as the price? Oh, looks like the CPI is out, market getting absolutely shellacked. Let me go ahead and do that. Then we'll bring on Mr. Melvin and ask him what we think about that. So market pulling here. U.S. CPI year over year for January, 3% versus the 2.9% estimate. Oh, boy. U.S. core CPI month over month for January, 0.4 versus the 3.10 estimate. And this U.S. CPI month over month for January, 0.5 versus the 3.10 estimate. The prior read was 0.4 there. Core CPI year over year for January, 3.3 versus 3.1. The prior read was 3.2. So the inflation number running hot here. Market getting absolutely pounded. S&P futures here down almost 1% now, down 0.9% on a pretty big reversal. Okay, folks, let's go ahead and bring on our guest, Tim Melvin, here on Wednesday. Good morning, Tim. How are you doing here today?
I'm just peachy key fine, watching everybody chase the mistakes they made, trying to predict what the hell CPI was going to be this morning. It's you could have put a buy stop and a sell stop above and below the market, and you'd have done better than every economist on the street. Okay, it's just quit paying attention to these numbers. It's like the Summers report. Now, it turns out he's right. Okay, we are at a very sensitive moment for inflation. How's the market going to react to that? I don't know. What's today's number going to be? Again, I don't know. Everything, Ryan, I keep telling you guys this, to hell with it's okay to be wrong. We all know that it's okay to be wrong. Your life slogan, if you're going to trade, invest, be married and stay married, anything else, it all shows up in price or value. Okay, so you don't have to run around trying to predict all this stuff. Although I am going to make a prediction this morning.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, I got one for you because I was watching you talk about Tesla. So anyway, that's CPI. I haven't read the components element of this yet, but remember, when you look at these CPI reports, you still have low-priced energy. Okay, you've got a lot of geopolitical risk not priced in, and when you look at the food commodities, they're starting to spark a little bit higher. So looking out down the curve, any mistake here in monetary or fiscal policy could have big repercussions. So unfortunately, I feel like we've got dinosaurs trying to tap dance on a tightrope. So it's going to get really interesting. And yes, the trend is your friend until it ends. But if you catch most of the trend, you can take a little bit of weakness at the end. So anyway, prediction. Tesla has tubed themselves. Okay. Elon has made a fundamental mistake where the car business is concerned. All right. Who buys Teslas? It is not Donald Trump loving, gas guzzling, Hemi engines, Julie 250 Ford pickup voters and buyers. It's not. It's English teachers and liberals are the base of the electric vehicle market. So you're seeing a pullback from his brand because of his association with the White House right now. So you could see a couple quarters where people just walk away from the car a little bit because his core buyer is going to be pulling back on him.
Okay.
So now, by the way, do not act on that prediction as far as a price prediction. It's worthless information. It's just a cool story and something that I do think is going to happen. So now we did see some interesting, and I haven't got my hands on the report yet. I'm going to unfortunately have to do that after this call. But BNP Paribas, the French bank, came out with their list of gray swans this morning, and it's pretty cool. These are things that are not all that probable, but if they happen, they're going to have a meaningful impact. different from black swans in that if you read the book, you understand that a black swan is something that's just completely unpredictable. Whereas a gray swan is something, it's a tail risk, an extreme event that we acknowledge could actually happen. So what are they? One, and this is the big one, and it's one that I consider the most likely. Right now, when you own the S&P 500, you own the US markets, you are massively long technology. You are primarily long the Magnificent Seven. Mostly, you're long NVIDIA. So any disappointment in AI, and you saw it, right? When DeepSeek came out,
Yep.
boom, we moved down. Imagine if NVIDIA missed earnings by a big number, right? I mean, if they miss it by just a little bit, we're going to drop 10%. If there's a big miss, and before you say that's not possible, remember, it was a big miss that started the internet bubble collapse back in 2000. So if there's any disappointments in the Mag 7, you're talking a big sell-off. Do we think that's going to happen? I don't know. I didn't see DeepSeek coming, I'll be honest, and I follow the AI market pretty close. I don't think Sam Altman saw DeepSeek coming. So, and I'm still not sure exactly what DeepSeek is, but that when this happened in 2000, it caused a recession that lasted 2 years because consumers that have just taken a 50% hit to their net worth, well, they tend not to spend money. Other things that they look at and say, okay, that could really shake things up. Jerome Powell gets fired. He doesn't lower rates when Trump wants him to. Trump fires him. That one goes to the Supreme Court, kids, okay? Because Powell is under one interpretation of the law, and I happen to think he's right, he can't be fired.
Yeah, he's going to serve out his term. It sounds like he's going to serve out his term and not try to get reelected or
but then you just yesterday, Trump's bestest buddy is saying, let's fire him.
And this morning, actually, I believe I think there was a quote coming out that said Trump was demanding lower interest rates again. I know it's not the first time he's done that, but I'm pretty sure I saw another quote that was fresh from this morning. I don't have it in front of me. I apologize. Tim, your point really about NVIDIA. First of all, I definitely don't think it's impossible for the stock to miss. I mean, maybe it puts up a number there and it kind of fudges it a little bit here. But I mean, again, to your point, looking at the history here, this thing beats all the time. If we put up a bad number, look out below.
Yeah, no, it's
look out below.
A bad number, or another threat to NVIDIA emerges from somewhere in the world. And do I know of one coming? No, that's why it's a surprise. So Powell being fired would be a mess and would cause the world markets to lose a lot of confidence in us. And then the other one, of course, is continued dysfunction at a congressional level, which we seem to specialize in. That start to cast doubts on our ability to fund and pay our bills. So, and then, there's some positive gray swans out there as well. What happens if OPEC falls apart? That's a huge plus for the U.S. And oil prices. It's bad if you're long oil stocks. It's good if you're long everything else. What if there's a flow? Asset allocators start directing a lot of money into Chinese stocks, and that buying begins to begat a little bit of economic prosperity and recovery in some of the depressed segments. Or a commodities-driven emerging market in Brazil. So there's a lot of, just gray swans out there, but the NVIDIA is the one you really got to have your eyes on that one.
14 days, 2 weeks from today, we get that report in the after hours. So to your point, TikTok, Tim, we are approaching critical mass. Really quickly, quick check in here on the SPY. That is. Excuse me, Big B saying that is an ugly candle. Indeed, it is. It basically just sunk us right to the 50-day moving average. So far, we're holding that. So remember what I just said when we started the show here. We really hadn't done anything the past few days. The question is going to be, do we break up or break down? 50-day moving average was one of those spots that we had. So, all right.
Now, very important economic study out, and you guys need to write this one down because it's critical. First off, I want to congratulate the Philadelphia Eagles on winning the Super Bowl. We're all going to wish that they didn't. The last time the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl, it caused a great financial crisis. Back on October 14th, 1929, on a soft ground out to center field, the World Series came to an end, and the Philadelphia Athletics were the champions of the world.
Were you at that game?
Yeah, I was there. Took my kids.
I'm sorry.
1980, the Phillies win the World Series. It's a bad year for the markets. 1930, the Athletics win again. 1967, the Eagles are NFL champions. The 76ers are champions. The stock market tops. They are again champions in 1974, where the stock market collapses. A Philadelphia sports team winning a championship has been a disaster for the equity markets. So, correlation is not causation, but that's a fun story.
Well, so I'm going to throw it right back to you, Tim. It's prediction time. Do you think that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to represent the top of the market in a potential poor year for stocks?
I don't know.
I knew it. I knew it.
Look, so far this morning, I'm giving no information. I'm just telling stories. Okay. But I saw that come across as an actual academic study that somebody released the minute the damn game was over the other night. So Philadelphia sports team's winning. By the way, guys, and here's why you want to root for the Orioles. When the Orioles or the Ravens or the Colts win, it starts an equity market boom. 1958, 1983. 2002, the market bottoms as the Ravens win the Super Bowl. So 2011, we kick off a 15-year bear market. So, go Birds. That's all I can say. But my bird's not yours. Anyway, another study is that, Ryan, I sent you some links to some of these I'm going to talk about, and this is one of them from Henry Bessenbinder at Arizona State University, Carey School of Business. Bessenbinder did a study a few years ago that's very important, and it's on the same page, but with this link, where he looked at all performance of all stocks from 1929 all the way forward. Okay, this is the one that I'm talking about. Do stocks outperform Treasury bills? The resounding answer, boys and girls, was no. All the wealth created in the market since 1926 has come from like 85 stocks. Okay, so he released another study just last week. Looking at, do I have the actual title of this damn thing here? Yes, which U.S. stocks generate the highest returns 1926 to 1923? And again, when you look at this whole universe of stocks, the average stock returns 7.5% and is only in the database for 11 years. They get bought, they go out of business, something happens. So when you look at the longest term, the biggest winners throughout history, they're stocks that compounded in the mid-teens for like decades. Okay, so you're looking at cigarettes, railroads, defense, missile, and bullets never go out of fashion. Mm-hmm. Materials, by the way, and this was interesting. One of the biggest winners in history has been Vulcan Materials. They do aggregate materials that are used to make concrete. And of course, we've concreted over the world since 1926.
Yeah.
So then over 1 to 5 years, it's totally a crapshoot. 100%. There's biotech on there. There's some technology. There's some electronics. There's steel. There's energy. What stocks have the highest compounded rate of return over the shorter term? There's just, and you're on the older study there, Ryan, I think. But then between 5 to 20 years, here's where Tim Melvin shines, okay? Because your winners are, drum roll, banks. Did I mention banks? Yeah,
you did.
Banks.
Yes, you did.
Life insurance company, chemicals, and communications company. So your medium-term winners, banks play a huge role in that and are among the biggest winners. There's a reason when you go back and look at the 50s, 60s, and 70s portfolio of Warren Buffett, there were always a few banks tossed in there. When you buy banks at the right price with the right margin of safety, it gets a little tricky to not make money. More on that later. Longer term, 20%, highest rates of return. Here's where technology shines. It's NVIDIA, Amazon, Microsoft, very tech-heavy list. The secret to this is, and this is what nobody does, everybody misses this. When you're buying these high-quality, high-profit tech companies, You buy them when they're temporarily out of favor. In 2016, you could have bought Nvidia at 8 times free cash flow. You could have bought Apple under book back in 2002. So there's always opportunities at these companies to buy them at a good price. Then you simply hold on forever. Like if you really see AI and Nvidia is going to be a player, if Nvidia misses earnings, you don't sell it, you buy more. So, but in the long-term ownership, you're getting these high rates of return. Here's something else that, and nobody is, hyperbole, I guess, of course, some people held on to it for 20 years. Very few individual investors did. And I know that just from being a broker for a long time and working in this business for a long time, that the number of individual investors that hold stocks for really long periods of time is very, very short. Because it's hard to do, right? You get a 5-bagger, a 10-bagger. It's hard to just sit there and not cash some of that gain. So it's,
and the other thing, I think more and more people realize that stocks are just paper, right? It's just a number. It's just paper. And if you do have substantial gains like you're talking about, it's prudent to turn some of that into usable fiat. I get it though.
Yeah, but it's the huge, massive, all-time big win games were owning tech stocks for a very long time, and companies that changed the world. Because if you think about it, concrete companies, railroad companies, and all that back in the 20s and 30s, they changed the world. Same with electronic companies coming up through the late 70s and early 80s. Yeah, pot stocks had a few hot minutes in 2018. You could tell because everybody and their brother came out with a pot stock newsletter.
That's true, actually.
It's events like this.
I've traded some of those. I'm not going to lie. I've traded some of those pot stocks back in the day.
I have to admit, I worked for Dean Witter for a long time back in the 80s and 90s, and I miss Dean Witter because Dean Witter was reliable in one area, and they were a lot like the really high scale newsletter industry. If Dean Witter came out with a sector fund, like if they came out with healthcare or technology or food, whatever the sector was, when they bought out a fund, that was it. The game was over. 1,000%. They would pick the top every time. They never missed. And it was just so reliable. If they finally got around to doing a sector fund, that was the peak in that particular sector. There was another study out. This is a dumb one. I'm just going to mention it real quick. Apparently, dividend yields are predictive of future stock prices. Who knew? This just. And by the way, dividend paying stocks do better in bad markets than non-dividend paying stocks. Some professor got paid to write that. This is why I like to sort through this stuff, because there's a lot of publish or perish in the academic levels. You either publish stuff or you don't get your tenure, you get fired. There's a lot of these guys doing really good work. There's a lot of them doing garbage work, like the Philadelphia Eagles study, like the dividend study. But now, looking for remember the name of the study here.
Is it the value investing theory and practice?
Yes, that's what value investing theory and practice.
So I've got it on the screen. I'll also share the link with the group here. Good morning, Miss Whitehorse. Long time. Welcome back.
This is Charles Lee from the Foster School of Business out in at Washington University, and he just puts a modern spin on Ben Graham's original theories. Gets a little mathy in places. Can be if you're not mathy, it can be a tough read. Basically, they're using core, old school, old-fashioned deep value, kind of like me, kind of like the stuff we're doing in the new trade alert service, okay? And for all the value is dead and value doesn't work, guess what? From 1999 all the way up to 2024, it crushes the market. Just beats it, bloody pretty much. And he's looking at it, he's like, look, we take all of these characteristics and we today have definitions of quality that Graham couldn't use when he set his models up in the 1976 interviews that we talked about. He used high current ratios and low debt to equities. We can come back around and say, well, look, we can use gross profit as a percentage of assets. We can use F score, and all of these things give us very accurate measures of quality. So you look at these undervalued stocks, you buy the higher quality ones, and you kill the market. Now, when you run these screens, something that I noticed pops up to the top of the list is real estate investment trusts.
Mhm.
Get in there. When you buy these things at the right multiple of cash flow, and you buy a good one, and one that is on the list right now is Vici Properties, which is one of my all-time favorite REITs. If you
Well,
see
the VICI, right?
VICI, if you see a sell-off in the REIT market, you can just assume I'm buying more of this. Okay. This came out of the old Caesars. They were formed in all of the Caesars palace and casino business all over the
Mhm.
country. And it just kind of expanded and grew from there. Now, I was a bondholder in both of the Caesars bankruptcies and near bankruptcies over the years. So I was very familiar with the operations. When I saw the REIT, I started buying. They've just gotten bigger, right? They own a bunch of properties on the strip. They own a bunch of regional casinos. You've got an almost 6% dividend now, I believe. And they have a reputation for and track record of growing it. All of their leases are very long term. I'm just checking the dividend here. Yeah, 5.71 anticipated over the next 12 because they just raised it a little while ago. So you've got this, fantastic business with long-term leases. All through COVID, when Vegas was closed, they still got their rent because nobody's letting these leases go, particularly a large established casino company. So when you see REITs like this on the list, you just buy them. And, you're going to make some money off of this deal because, like I said, they're just really high quality, irreplaceable assets. They're also triple net leases, so the tenant is paying taxes, maintenance, and insurance. And then another one for the bold among us that came up was SunCoke Energy, and SunCoke turns coal into coke for the steel industry around the world.
Help me out with the ticker on this one. I don't remember.
SXC.
SXC. Yep. We've looked at this before.
Yeah, trading, very, very low price. Actually, price to earnings, price to book, price to sales. You pick your price to whatever. The stock's cheap.
Yeah. I actually think our 13, help me out here. Didn't the happy hour crew talk about this? I think back in 2021 or 2022 around a 6 handle. I feel like we've actually talked about SXC being a deal. Anyway, Tim, I'm sorry for digressing.
Oh, that's
Keep
okay.
going.
That's okay. And then, if we change our definition from free cash flow yield, which I was using in that one, to gross profitability, which is Robert Novi Marks of Rochester University, was how he identifies quality. Fantastic paper. If we've never read it, I have to get copies to everybody. But this is just gross profitability as a percentage of assets is how you identify quality. And by the way, you take gross profitability. We talked about this last week.
Yep.
Revenue minus cost of sales, not expenses, just cost of sales. Everything below that gross profit line, we ignore because that's just people doing stupid things, right? This is the government. This is the business itself being really profitable. So when we switch to that and a low multiple, we start to get into all of the home builders make the list as they're pulling back. Remax, the realtor, makes the list, which is really interesting because eventually we're going to figure this housing thing out. Okay. This could be a very rough ride, but eventually we're still short somewhere between 4 to 6 million homes, depending which agency you choose to listen to, whether it's a realtor or a government agency or a mortgage company or whoever. We're short a lot of homes. And you talk to a lot of people that are living in apartments. They're like, I'd love to buy a home. But two things. One, there's not a lot of existing inventory. There's very little building activity on the lower end because it's much more profitable to build the big mega mansions, right?
Yep.
So there's a definite lack of inventory. And it's still hard for people to get their mind around, God, if I'd acted 3 years ago, I'd have a 3.5% mortgage. It's going to be 7 today.
Yep.
So there's still all that going on, but we will solve this. What's that?
2.625 for me. So that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of locked into where I'm at right now. And by the way, what you were talking about here regarding the housing supply, this is actually something that Vivek Ramaswamy just talked about on one of his recent podcasts 2 days ago. He said, part of the problem here is that the demand is high and the supply is low. And how do you fix that equation? You increase the supply. Pretty simple.
Yeah, that's why when you see the builders come on there, and we talked Landsea Homes, LSEA. We talked about that one. They do primary building for home builders, and I could liquidate Landsea and walk away with a profit right now. I mean, that's how cheap this stock is. They are profitable. They will be more profitable next year. They suffer from SPAC disease, in that this was a SPAC offering. So not a lot of institutional attention. They're growing. There's a little bit of, you could just see they did an over offering of stock. There's a little bit of overhang of owner stock, but they're building primarily single family homes, and they own lots for single family homes in all the right places. So, and then another stock that's on there is RMR Group. Now, RMR is a real estate empire out of Boston, Newton, Massachusetts. Family run, the kids and everybody, they're all executives. Now, here's one thing that you do. They own a lot of REITs, and they operate them. They operate them on management contracts. They're not insiders, right? It's not, they don't own the REITs. They're just doing management contracts. Do not I can't imagine why I'd ever be talked into it. Buy a REIT run by RMR Group. Okay. Because RMR Group gets paid a fee on total assets, and they will do anything to inflate the number of assets, including stupid mergers, bad loan deals, whatever it takes. Bring assets, more buildings into the portfolio because we get paid more, right? And they will do some of the dumbest mergers you have ever seen, like merge government office property buildings with apartments to come up with, whatever it takes to keep these things viable and running. Their REIT investors do not make a ton of money, as you can tell. The management company mints cash. So, the insiders still own quite a bit. They own about 15% of the company. It just absolutely mints cash. You've got a nice dividend.
Almost 10% on this name.
Yeah, don't be surprised if they end up having to cut that as
okay
toward the end of the year. But that's okay. You're trading at 70 cents on the dollar of sales, 11 times earnings, and down to a very low multiple of cash flows. So, great business doing bad things. So I'm not going to say that because somebody will be watching. I'll get sued. But they earn a lot of money. Their REIT investors tend to not do as well, in my experience. You can change the valuation multiple from cash flow and earnings to price to book. You come up with things like eHealth, EHTH. They do online health insurance and work with the exchanges and all that. When Obamacare was first announced, this was one of the best growth stocks in the world. As you can see now, it's not anymore. A stock that I love near and dear to my heart is Scholastics Corporation, SCHL. They are school books and textbooks and books for kids. They are also Harry Potter. They were the only ones that published Rowling back in the day. They still have that. They published a series that my 7-year-old granddaughter set me straight that these are actually real books, and they're good, Papa. They're good. Called the Dog Man series. So they're good. But the kids are apparently reading that. They do a lot of magazines for kids. They do classroom book clubs and book fairs, and they are the publisher for that kids, child, and early teen market.
Interesting spot here on the chart too at 19.5.
Yeah, I like this company as long term. I'm always kind of surprised that nobody comes in and buys Scholastic. Insiders do own enough stock to be difficult about this, but it could be done. And I could see a lot of places where they'd be a good fit inside larger entertainment companies, but so far it hasn't happened at this price. You're getting down there in terms of price to tangible book value. You're very low price to sales. You're getting ready to go from a loss last year to a big profit this year. This one being bought doesn't blow me away. And then finally is BDL is the symbol. It's Flanagan's. It's restaurants and Big Daddy's liquor stores on the East Coast of Florida. This is kind of a sleeper. It's a little stock. It's a good business. It's profitable. It's cheap. I could think of 10 companies where it would make sense to buy this. So I'm sorry, that wasn't the last one, because the last one would be Bassett Furniture, BSET, which is in the middle of what could be a huge turnaround. The stock is very cheap at the current levels. And again, it's another one. Lost money last year, going to have a decent profit this year. Cash flow is positive, cheap, low price to book, low price to sales, nice dividend. So, and remember, according to our study, dividends are better in a bad market, and they're predictive of future stock prices.
Yep.
Who knew? I never knew that. But anyway, the whole point of this study and why I'm going on and on and on and on is we hear all of this discrediting value investing. Value is dead. It doesn't work. Book value doesn't matter. P doesn't matter. And it does. Now, this is, by the way, he does examine F scores and the magic formula that we talked about, which is high return on capital, high earnings yield. He does examine that, and he comes to the inescapable conclusion. All of this stuff is highly derivative of Ben Graham's original work. All of it still works. Now, if you need to own 1,000 stocks with $5 billion under value, this isn't going to be your flavor. Okay, that's not going to work for you. But if you're an individual investor sitting home, a few $100 grand, maybe $1 million or $2 million, or you're trying to get to those levels, this really works for you. AG&C, I'm going to take that one, and then I'll turn it back over to Ryan.
Perfect.
I love AG&C. I love NLY. I love RITM. I especially love Redwood, RWT. Mortgage spreads are at very high levels historically, mortgage spreads over Treasury. So you've still got two buyers out of the market, okay? And the banks are just starting to tiptoe back in now that we've got a more favorable regulatory environment, some better eyes on the capital requirements. But they had come completely out of the market in order to raise capital. The Fed is out completely. They're letting everything roll off. They're not, doing any buying. They're looking to shrink, not grow their balance sheet. So you've got kind of a market where two of the biggest buyers are out. You've actually got supply coming into the market. So we're in a buyer or bet last resort position. These are agency mortgages at AG&C. That means they're guaranteed by Fannie, Freddie, one of the other agencies. So, no credit risk. But even when you come down to RITM, which has an asset management and a brokerage business. So this thing, the breakup value of RITM, by the way, is well above the current stock price, and you're getting a nice dividend. They just had a great earnings report. But RWT is also doing origination. They're working with banks to do non-conforming jumbo loans, provide capital for that. And again, 10% yield now on Redwood Trust. The credit quality is outstanding because banks and the mortgage REITs and most lenders are not doing near prime or subprime. They don't want to touch the stuff. They figured this out in 2008. The projections look great in the computer models, and they do. We're going to, earn this high rate of return on these subprime mortgages, and as long as most of them pay, that's great. The problem is when it blows up, it takes everybody out. So the banks, they're not really allowed it anymore. The regulators like, no. And there are, some lower tier lenders trying to do this with fintech. It's not going well in the near prime and subprime. But so these are all your high credit, good jobs, really high FICO score, or they qualify for the Fannie and Freddie. So you're not taking a lot of credit risk. There is some interest rate risk, but look, Redwood's 10%. It's over 8 on RITM, on Rhythm Capital. You're at 13 and 14% on AG&C and Annaly in here, okay? As long as the world doesn't blow up, you end up with a total return on these things that I'm pretty sure is going to beat the living out of the broader stock market over the long run. I don't know what happens in the short run. I know market cap to GDP, aggregate investor allocation to equities, excess KPI. Pick something. Pick a long-term barometer of stock price performance. Suggests that we could have a decade that looks like 2000 to 2010 or 1968 to 1982, where we just kind of don't do much. We just came off an unbelievable 15-year period of stocks. If you're not at least open to the idea that the next 15 might not be as good as this 15, you're going to kill yourself trying to keep up with something that ain't going to happen.
Okay. Great stuff here today, Tim. I know that was a little bit long-winded, but all really, really important. Some really good picks in there too. Good interaction here from our chat. So
Yes,
really,
and
really good stuff.
By the way, furniture building's not going back to North Carolina, and that's just this incredibly capital intensive business. It's kind of like textiles. It's really, really hard to do here. At this point in time, super micro computers. I'm taking questions out here. I can't stop.
Knew it. I knew it. I knew you were going to.
I cannot stop myself. It was a great momentum pick for a while, and I think we mentioned it as a momentum pick one time on here. And I'm just pulling the chart up. It kind of blew that up, and I really have not come back and revisited it. If they hit the earnings targets on this thing this year, it could be a huge winner, but it hasn't come into our wheelhouse yet. It needs to. If it just drops by, I don't know, 70, 80%, I mean, we're going to get down to the price to book value where I'm really going to get interested.
Yeah. Okay. Really good stuff here today, Tim. I got to get you out of here before there are more questions that flow across here, and then you have to answer them because that's just what we do around here.
Not a problem, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Sorry I took so long, but
it's totally fine. Appreciate all of the value, Tim. Have a great one. Enjoy trading this massive CPI pull because I know you're going to be active today.
And remember, beware Philadelphia. Bye, guys.
Take care, Tim. That is Tim Melvin. Really good stuff for him today. For folks, I know that you guys are always talking about movers and we're always trading movers, but we're also going to bring you some long-term hold stuff that you can diversify and pad your portfolio with and make it a lot easier to stick around in this game. Tim's departure leaves room for 13. Let's bring him on. 13. How are you doing this morning? Oh my gosh, we finally have some action. Are we going to do something here on the SPY? What say you?
Well, let's see what happens at the open if this dip gets bought or not, because that's been the theme. Buy every dip, right?
Exactly. And I love that you just cut to the chase. That's exactly where I was trying to lead you, and you're just like, I know where you're going already.
I know.
Is this going to be a buy the dip day again? Or do we continue to push over?
Because I don't know. This is a pretty big pre-market poll. One that we would have probably wanted to see on Monday. So we had that pattern continue to repeat. But now we're beneath the 50-day SMA once again. So it's just going to be a matter of let's see if it can recapture it. Yeah. You have downside levels that we could take a look at. I mean, you have the previous all-time high of 596 and 65 cents. There's that consolidation area beneath it back that that kind of started in November. So, you've got some areas to the downside here that could provide support, but, we're not trying to really catch falling knives, are we?
Nope. We're trying to do stuff that's a little bit smarter than that. Okay. We're going to see how this shakes out here. VIX 1717, Bitcoin pulled, although that's up off its lows. Apple, some new lows, Netflix, some new lows. So Tesla, interesting. That's rolling over here. I'm sure we're going to take a long look at Tesla. But you know what? Let's knock out some of the movers here and get ready for the day. What do you say, 13?
Yeah, let's just get through these so we can, have fun with everything that's going to happen here today.
Okay, now the first one here, this actually happened here, this pre-market, this is going to be ticker XLO. This is Xylo Therapeutics. This was a penny stock, but now we've graduated to dollar territory here. AbbVie and Xylo Therapeutics announced collaboration and option agreement to develop novel tumor-activated immunotherapies. Some more context on here. AbbVie and Xylo Therapeutics announced a collaboration and an option to license agreement to develop novel tumor-activated antibody-based immunotherapies, as per which Xylo will receive $52 million in total upfront payments and be eligible to receive around $2.1 billion in total contingent payments for option-related fees and milestone plus tiered royalties. This stock here up 111% on the back of that news. Quick look around the horn before I kick it over to 13. Only 0.5% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. Pretty much no squeeze potential there, at least none that I see. Float a little bit higher than the range that we like to call our wheelhouse, checking in here at about 38.17 million shares in the float. And it is trading obviously on huge higher than average volume. So 13, what do you make here? Ticker XLO, X-Ray Lima Oscar.
So this license agreement is a pretty big deal, it seems, for Xilio. They're getting $52 million in upfront payments, which is more than their market cap as of the close yesterday.
Which was $30 million.
Yep. Yeah. So when we take into consideration their outstanding shares, and we kind of look at the the 52 million figure, that's about $1.13, price of each share. So we're above that now. But they also have the eligibility to receive up to 2.1 billion in total contingent payments. So that that's going to be over time.
Yep.
But this is a very big deal for XLO, and this this could have this could have some legs.
And to your point, this could really have more legs if it does meet any of those milestones and then announces that, because like you were saying, first of all, the upfront payment almost double the market cap to begin with, and then 2.1 billion of incentives on top of that. That could really provide the juice that this company needs.
Yeah, and they still do lose money, although they are starting to lose a little bit less of it these days, but it's still in double-digit millions.
Mm-hmm.
They are starting to get some revenue, but this deal here kind of it kind of eliminates the concern about their cash. They do have about 3 to 4 quarters of cash before this deal. Now this looks like they are going to be possibly turning a profit soon. So it'll be nice to see what ends up happening with this. But this is a very big deal. I would expect this to trade up higher today. Don't know how high it's going to go, but this is definitely good news for the company.
Okay, just eyeballing some levels right here. I'm more than happy to refine them as the day goes on. I've got VWAP at 146, but this 146 to 148 area definitely looks to be like the next near-term area we need to get over. Above that, I would say probably 160, 180, and 2. Again, we'll see. Maybe we can actually derive some more targets from this.
I actually have some already.
Okay,
we've traded this. We've traded this before. So I've got some old levels here, and
lay them on me.
So the one that we're kind of hovering around right now is the 140 level. Above that, I have 170, 195 to 2, 225, 240, and then 265.
Okay, way too fast. 170. What did you have after that?
195 to 2, somewhere in there.
Yeah, that's going to be right at the top of this candle up to that round number. Got it.
And then 225, 240, and 265.
Okay. 240 is going to be right in here. Perfect. And then 265.
And I can start throwing out more later, but let's just see what ends up happening out of the open.
Okay. Perfect. XLO. There you go. That's the news. That's the plan. Let's see if we end up hitting these here this morning. All right, next on the list here, I have KDLY. This is Kindly MD. This stock also up about 44 cents here today. This is actually from January. I don't have any fresh news on this. I'm not really sure what's going on. This was up 13.7% yesterday. Looks like it popped a little bit in the after hours some more. I want to say, given what we saw in the after hours, maybe this is appearing on relative volume scans here today. Certainly is behaving like that here in the pre-market. Quick look at the short interest, 1.61% of the float shorted with only a day to cover, and the float in the butter zone that we're looking for, 2.99 million. 13, what do you have here? Take care of yourself, Miss Whitehorse. Great to see you again. Hope all is well in your corner of the world. We'll keep the seat warm for you. Sorry, 13.
No worries. I saw that news earlier on that they had about opening the regional medical center, and that's really the only news as of late. But this is a newer company, hasn't been around that long on the market, and it seems to have found some support. Let me just get this exact figure here. It seems to have found support around 120. Ever since we started falling down after that news of the opening the regional medical center, it has been going sideways a little bit on that 120 line, and now we're coming off it. So I don't know what's pushing it off here, except maybe this is just some kind of technical move. Don't know what I would call it, because we did have some. Maybe it's just relative volume, because we did get some movement yesterday.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So that's really all I would be able to draw on. But now we are above both the 20 and 50-day SMAs, and we are approaching the highs back from November. So beyond that, if we continue to trade up, 220 is looking like a really interesting area. That was around the high from November.
Yep.
And then after that, you have 240, which is also a previous support and resistance level back in the middle of last year after it IPO'd. So we're making our way back up to some of these IPO levels.
Okay, good stuff there. KDLY, another one of your movers here today.
Another thing, sorry to add this. They also have a Cigna partnership that they announced earlier this last year. That's helping them expand their business. They have about 2 to 3 quarters of cash, and they also have a share repurchase program for $500,000 in shares. So several interesting things going on here. Maybe that's what's happening. We're seeing some share repurchases yesterday. Okay. So speculative thought.
All right, interesting stuff there. Good stuff as well. Next here, we got one from yesterday, AIFF, and I'm thrilled about how this has ended up working. We had discussed yesterday that this was likely going to be in play today based on its performance yesterday. We talked a little bit about that in the happy hour. I did a presentation with Anne-Marie yesterday where I broke down how to use the scanner in order to find plays just like this. And what I left the group with is be sure to check on this stock in the morning because it's likely going to have a volatile pre-market and might be in play for another trade the following day. Well, lo and behold, is exactly what happened here. And the relative volume that was just gigantic yesterday clearly playing a role here today. Now, if we take a look here at the news, nothing fresh here today, just all of the stuff from yesterday, just as a reminder. Firefly Neurosciences was the name of the company here, accepted into it NVIDIA's Connect program. And I don't think we spent a lot of time on this together yesterday. NVIDIA's Connect brings together NVIDIA's advanced software development resources, industry-leading framework and software development kits, and global ecosystem to help fuel the growth of member companies and expand the capabilities of their software development teams. Benefits include technical training and engineering guidance to support the development of products and discounts on NVIDIA software and hardware to accelerate development and increase efficiency. So the NVIDIA Connect program, this headline clearly what was driving AIFF yesterday. Looks like we're going to have some relative volume here today. The levels that we were able to carve out yesterday based on the performance of the stock likely to be in play here again. The first one that jumps off the page is going to be this 1097 one. I guess we could call it 11. Everything else here is the same from yesterday. So it's just kind of a reminder here, 9% of the float shorted, not really a whole lot, certainly not a lot on the days to cover, and the float right in that butter zone at 5.5 million. So 13, I know this is just a relative volume one from yesterday, but do you have anything here that you'd like to add for the group today?
I am looking for this to possibly hit 16 today.
Okay.
That would be an interesting level if it got up there. It certainly looks like it could get to the highs that it made already, which was in the 12s or up just about at 12.
Yeah, I think it was at 12. Yep.
Mm-hmm. But if you want some of the dumb levels, here we go. The weekly 200 EMA is at 2160. So there's one level. And then you have the monthly 65 and 200 EMAs right around 2330. So those are the dumb levels that I think we have a chance. There's no guarantee.
Okay, that first one was 2160, right? Just to make sure I get this correct.
Yep, 2160 and 2330.
Okay, 2330. Let me see if I can add another one there. 23. There we go. Right click, and settings 30. Okay.
There's no guarantee that we get up here with these, but when you look at the size of the float and you're thinking to yourself, 5.5 million. Yeah, it could probably do that if it gets enough attention. I mean, this is the third day it's moving like this. We've already had it's been doing this all week. So it's a long shot call, but if it starts trading really, really dumb levels, that's where we could see a top.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's 16. Hey, Christoph, I'm right there with you. I think it's silly that it could get up there, but it could.
We'll see. I would at this point, nothing would really shock me.
Yeah.
Okay. Next here on the list, and I think we can probably do ticker time. I know we have WISA, and then also the SMCI ETF. But I did want to talk here about Upstart real quick.
Sure.
This reported earnings, it's going absolutely buck wild here in the after hours. This was probably the best earnings report of the night last night, and then also again here this morning. Shout out to whoever brought up Upstart yesterday. I can't remember who it was. We had asked, and when we talked to Anne Marie, we covered some other stocks. This one ended up being the big winner. So shout out to whoever that was. Really good stuff yesterday on Upstart. Upstart shares trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q4 financial results and issued Q1 and FY25 revenue guidance above estimates. Multiple analysts upgraded the stock following the report. So this stock beat on the top, beat on the bottom, and they were big beats. And we talked about this yesterday when we were in happy hour. The EPS, 26 cents. The estimate was a 4-cent loss. Huge beat there. Sales, 2.189 million versus 182 million. So again, big beat on both the top and the bottom. They guided above the higher end of the range as well. And then this morning we had a bunch of firms come in here and actually upgrade the stock. Morgan upgrading Upstart to neutral, raises the price target to 79. B. Riley upgrading Upstart to buy, raises the price target to 105. Needham went from 100 to 108. Bank of America maintained underperform, but raised the price target to 39. They look to be a little bit behind on that one. So good stuff here from Upstart. This is actually doing a pretty good job holding some pretty massive after hours gains, especially given the CPI print here this morning. We're still up about 20%. We'll see if this rolls over, if this trades with the market. Maybe we do have a regression back to the mean. 13, do you have anything here? Ticker UPST.
My thought on this one is that I think because of the low expectations that a lot of folks had for this, I mean, we were looking at a 4 cents loss on EPS. That was the estimate. The sales estimate was really low too. I think this was pretty heavily shorted, and there was just a bearish sentiment going into this earnings, and it just obliterated it.
That's spot on. 13, 22.5% of the float shorted with 5 days to cover, and as we talked about, they obliterated those earnings.
Yeah. So I think that's what was happening here, and it looks a little bearish in the pre-market right now. But let's see where it ends up bottoming, and then this thing could probably go on another run for all I know. But I think this is we're seeing a big squeeze here on a far better than expected earnings report and a high short interest.
Okay. Good stuff here with Upstart. I saw someone mention earlier that VSIG had news. Looks like this is a penny stock that did spike to dollar territory. I didn't have this one on the list, but you're absolutely right. VCI Global secures $12 million contract with DataNex for AI-powered digital marketing solutions through VCI AI Limited. All right, $12 million contract here for VSIG. The market cap's $20 million, so it's a pretty sizable contract that did cause the stock to pop here. Looks like the high that we put in, 114. We're trying to hold on to $1 here. I'm not sure if VSIG is going to be one of the stocks that we trade here today, especially given the move that we're seeing in the broader market. But that piece of news did come out here recently and did pop the stock. 13, I know this was just kind of a late ad. You might not have anything on it, but if you do, go ahead. Only 2% of the float shorted, 22 mil shares in the float.
I really don't. The big move for me was back in November when I got out.
And we talked about that. The impetus for that move and the closing of that move. Okay, really good stuff. Let's flip over.
Hold on. I got one more that I wanted to mention as far as the movers go. And I don't know how much we're going to get out of this because the news came so late last night, almost before the market closed. This one is CLMT. This is Calumet. It's moving up because last night Trump administration okayed sustainable aviation fuel refinery loan. So could be getting a little bit of a squeeze here. The float's a little bit large at 71 million. Company does need cash. So this might need to raise money here. But I thought that it was worth mentioning since it's on the move and it got some late news. So put it on your radar, but just understand the risk here. This is a little bit squeezy and it does need cash.
Yeah, and real quick here, it's also worth mentioning. This actually we got a new short report read that was fresh as of yesterday, and that percent of float short ticked up. Short interest ticked up by nearly 1 million shares. The days to cover actually went down, but that's because the average volume also ticked up. So interesting there. Okay, good stuff. I actually didn't have that one on my list at all. Heads up. All right, let's see. We've got 7 minutes. We can flip over to the main workspace, get prepared here. Jay Harris is asking for some Tesla levels. That's how I know that we're in reality here. and not in a dream. Jay Harris, we try to get you those levels here every single day. So,
I'm
do you
trying
have
to.
Do you
Well,
have them ready?
I'm trying to remember what the level was I said yesterday in Tesla. I'm pretty sure I said something like 325 or to that effect, somewhere in the 320s. I know I said we ended up getting down there, kind of just beeline for it yesterday. So we're getting some support. It looks like at 325. So we're going to want to see that hold up. I don't know whether or not it will, but given the past 3 days of just straight down price action, I would think that also with the low RSI that we may see a little bit of a bounce here. I don't know, if it's just gonna reverse and go up for the rest of the day. I just think that we're going to get a short-term bounce. I would maybe say 350 could be the highest the rebound goes, but it may end up being more along the lines of 340. If we're going to continue to go to the downside, I see support at 310.
Okay, there you go. And downside here, I actually have a fib level at 311, so I very much enjoy your 310 spot there. $1 here on a $300 stock is pretty much negligible at that point. That was one of the levels that I listed earlier when we talked about Tesla. We talked about the deliveries could drop below 400,000. That was some of the other news that we got here on Tesla. Jay Harris, I can't remember if you were around in the morning there. And researchers obviously saying that the brand sentiment has taken a hit. We'll see how that plays out over the long term. So yeah, that 311 level. The other thing that I mentioned earlier, and again, I don't think this is going to come into play today, but this is definitely something that you should keep an eye on, especially if Tesla continues to be weak here. Some of the other fib levels that we have, 283, 261. That's notable because bisecting that, or pretty much right in the middle there, is your 200-day at 270. And then we also have a potential gap that starts here at 279 and fills at 255. So there's definitely some more downside area here that would get tested, I think, if Tesla continued to show some weakness here. So if we don't firm up on Tesla, we'll probably take a look at some of those downside levels. Izzy here saying Tesla 300 is my buy spot. I would imagine you're not alone in that one, Izzy. That's for sure.
Maybe later this week we see some of those other fib levels.
Yeah.
It's possible, but and now that you have that, what is that, the 100-day?
The light blue line, the teal line, yeah.
Yeah, so that could be another area of resistance if we do try to get a short-term bounce here in Tesla.
That's at 336.
Yeah, so just under that 340 area I was looking at. So that could be an area to watch for as well.
Okay, quick check-in on the SPY here after that CPI print that we got. We are trying to bounce. We're not really showing a ton of the strength here, really getting above 600. Maybe that ignites it. We'll see here on SPY, trying to bounce. But let's wait for the opening print, which comes in just under 3 minutes, 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Let me flip over to the main workspace here. We'll get ready to go. Let's get the option calendar ready to rip.
It's getting asked about Intel. And,
okay.
And,
got
it's got some really good headlines coming out, especially with their new CPU. That was a big. They needed this win. Let me tell you,
they sure did. And how about it? I was telling you, we had some information from a Benzinga member here telling you that something was going on in the 19 and a half handle. Here we are up at 22. So now, pat on the back to Mr. Anonymous.
Yeah. Now, as far as where we're going to go with this, I would love to see this, fill this gap that we created back in August, and this was from the DN carry trade unwind. I'm not going to get my wish today, or maybe even this month. It's possible, but I'm not expecting it. What I am seeing here are some technical moves, and one of the ones that stands out to me the most is this triple bottom that we put in here from this recent bottoming action that started in the middle of December. And we just came off of the third part of the triple bottom on February 6th. So we're starting to move up now. We moved through the 20 and 50-day SMAs. We're about to get a silver cross, which is when the 20 crosses over the 50-day SMA to the upside. And we're not too far away from the 200-day SMA, which is currently at 2480. So that could, we could run up to that 200-day SMA and then, maybe reverse and or kind of hang out beneath it for a little while. But it's looking pretty good for the time being for Intel. So this is looking like we might have a little bit of a turnaround story here. It's in the middle of some consolidation from October through November. So there is still some movement that needs to happen before we we break out and start to see some massive upside. We could get suppressed by some of these sellers that are trapped holding the bag up here in the mid 20s.
Okay, Nick, been in Intel since 1930, starting to work for you.
Oh,
Really good
yeah.
stuff it is. But as far as you were just talking about a turnaround story, remember we had a little great conversation about a company like Intel being one of those huge tankers. And yes, you can turn them around, but please keep in mind what kind of time frame it takes in order to do that. It might be a little bit different than some of these other companies we look at.
It might take multiple hammerings of the 200-day SMA before it actually breaks through it. So just keep that in mind. That this first touch of the 200-day SMA not going to be a breakout. We have about 10 seconds left.
Yeah, we sure do. So, producer, maybe the market poll question here: is it a buy the dip day post CPI? We are open right now.
All right. Well, let's see what we got moving here first. AIFF looks like that wants to push up and maybe test 12, and here we go. XLO still not able to get on the other side of 140, but I bet once it does, it might start trading better. Also beneath VWAP. Let's see, CLMT, that's trying to turn around. This is not really getting a whole lot of attention right now.
No, it sure isn't.
So this may be a day where we just kind of have to just wait and see what's setting up. Because right now, I'm not seeing too many things that are looking exciting on the movers list.
WISA here, Jane. I know we didn't really cover WISA. I kind of scoffed at it. Actually, just as I was talking about it here, it ended up spiking. Oh, nice. This was a move off the VWAP here. Not in this, not really watching WISA. I didn't really have a great experience with this the last time that we traded this one, but
oh, this one. Yeah, this one is like kind of like a widowmaker almost, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not been great. Good morning. Stay focused. It's great to see you. Stay focused. We were just kind of talking. What do you think? Does this buy the dip day or nah?
Well, let's see what SPY's doing right now.
SPY actually rolled over from that little bounce that it was trying to do right there at the open. Ended up rolling over a little bit here. We'll see if it breaches that intraday low, that pre-market low. 598.30 is that level.
Okay, so we're losing we're actually at the 50-day SMA right now. We were testing that earlier in the pre-market, but there's a trend line that I have here that goes all the way back from when we made the all-time highs in early December. We're getting some resistance from that trend line.
XLO looks like that first move was lower. XLO trying to get back to the VWAP there, 148. AIFF back on the scanner here. Watch that 1152 level there on AIFF.
Looks like Kindly is also trying to turn around. That's KDLY. So let's see. Oh, they just brought a huge seller in at XLO at 138. CLMT, that's going south. There's the 200 EMA on the 5-minute that can provide support. That's at 1776. And it's rebounding off that. AIFF looking to take out 12. Just this kind of top ticked it just now a little bit now, about 3 cents short of 12 there. Pulling. WISA hit 170, turned around.
SPY trying to bounce, doing its best to try and bounce. Yeah, that's really strange. I don't have that. Oh, yeah, I do. Huh. Might just leave it on the 5 here. Tell you what, this AIFF. I don't want to get too greedy just because we traded it yesterday, but man, oh man, it sure seems like this is getting rearing to go here. 1064 is what I have the VWAP at. 1065.
Yeah, mine's a little higher at 1098.
Stay focused here. Ryan, this could be the beginning of that seasonality on the SPY and not buying this dip yet. Okay, now that seasonality that he was talking about, we talked about mid-February down through March. And actually, I've shared the chart a few times here. I have to go back and look for it to show it again. But that's actually a really good reminder. Stay focused. That's one of the things that we have been talking about recently here.
XLO still kind of hanging in there. It looked like it was going to sell, but still going sideways. Needs to get over 140. Kindly is making its way towards the VWAP. Looks like WISA is still trying to push higher than 173, but yeah, I'm just gonna have to be patient. Oh, look at Jane Smith mentioning GER.
We're getting it again. Nice job, Izzy, scalping ONDS.
Oh yeah.
They got we've got them presenting at a conference here pretty soon. Don't forget.
That's a nice move out of the gate for GER. $2 move, over $2 move. Just right out of the gate, just like that. Kindly, here we go. Kindly moved over the VWAP. The pre-market highs for this one are about 220. 220 is the pre-market high, but there was another attempt after that to get up there and try to go higher. Couldn't do it. Only got as high as 217.
Okay, looking at AIFF, I think we might make a run here at this 1152. Wouldn't be terribly shocked if we do. Captain Cloudy says, I don't think this dip is buyable yet, maybe in the afternoon. Okay, I like the patience that you guys are showing. Morning, Mike. Good to see you. Morning, Ryan, if I didn't say good morning to you already. Morning, Shrikar as well.
Kindly now testing VWAP as support. And if we get that support, then we may see the other side of two.
And bring that up. I'll let you know if we get an entry trigger here in AIFF. KN.
Jeez, Jane, I think you got a big winner here so far. This GER.
Should I go to GER?
GER has just been great so far this morning.
Okay, good stuff there, Jane. We'll start here with some of those register rings early on. We're actually approaching this area here. What, 2263? See if we can get above that.
All right, so XLO finally made its way over 140. Let's see how it trades now.
Here we go. Good stuff on that. Looks like it popped above. Let's see. The volume actually looks good here on SLO too. So
far, not able to get back above VWAP, back to where it was. That's going to be what's going to be trying to do. All right, here we go with AIFF. I'm sorry, AIFF.
No, you got it right. AIFF 1152. That's the spot. Bang right through it now. Let's see if we can take out 12 there on AIFF.
Oh,
God, I got what a crappy fill. Damn.
And if AIFF breaks over 12, then that's the stupid levels may start kicking in. I'll be looking at 16.
Well, okay, and here we go. So a little bit of a dip here. Maybe I'll get bailed out. I actually got filled only 100 shares there at 1131. Might add a little bit down here. See if we end up getting that move.
Oh man, this thing is a bullwhip, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not easy, and it's not easy. I'm definitely going small here on something like this. The last thing we need is a huge pull into a downside halt. Did not pull there. Again, I'm still watching that 1152 launch point. I suspect that that's going to be one of the areas that really gets it going. We can take a look at some more as we wait for this one to end up working out or failing. There's Upstart. So that little dip that we got post the CPI, we actually already went green off that. How's the SPY doing? SPY continuing to bounce here.
Kindly still.
You know what? Let me go vote in the poll. Go ahead. Let me go ahead and vote in that poll. I meant to do that. I already got sidetracked here.
Yeah, Kindly's still trying to make this to make $2 happen. Still trying. And here we go with AIFF. We're through 12, and we are going to halt to the upside.
We are. I am still. So, I only got filled a little bit there on AIFF. Only got filled 100 shares, but I'm up over a whole point. So we'll stay through this halt. We'll see if we can sell out of this. Really good stuff there. AIFF. Just
it hasn't halted yet.
It's halted on my screen.
Oh, okay. Because I still see.
Wait. Yes, it's halted. Yep. Yep.
Now it's halted.
Okay.
Right. No, I still see shares moving around. That's what the heck is going on?
I have the halt tool in Pro reports it as halted, and my broker has this as halted at 1248. Okay. So really quickly here, where was that comment? Mo says, geez, AIF popped in an instant halt. So that's one of the things here. You know, we were trading some of those halt stocks, just like a couple of weeks ago. One of the things that I noticed is that some of these that are really, really volatile, you might not even have time, right? You almost kind of have to be in them. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to nibble a little bit there, and why I was trying to be conservative with some of my buys. I was trying to add lower under that initial move higher here. Ended up just getting an extra 100 on that. Now we're halted up here. So we'll see. We'll see where we go. Good stuff, though, so far. Ryan's asking if there was an RCAT announcement here today. I believe the RCAT news was that they are actually presenting this afternoon, Ryan. Let me check that. This is the TD Cowen. We have this presentation. Thompson's presentation is scheduled for 1:20 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern in track 2 on Wednesday, February 12th. So today, 1:20 to 2 Eastern is going to be the RCAT presentation.
Well, so far, oh man, GUR is still going. It got as high as 23.16, got a little bit of a pull, and we're hanging out here at about 20, just under 23. Volume has really fallen down, so not sure what we're going to get out of here. We could see some selling.
Sorry to interrupt you here. We were just talking about OMDS. I know that that's volatile here today with the CPI, but they are also presenting Eric Brock, the former CEO, who is now on the board of what that drone board. I can't remember what the initials are, but they basically work directly with the FAA. Nonetheless, he had a presentation today that is ongoing right now. Started at 9:15 Eastern at that same conference. And that's going to be about Ondas's autonomous systems business unit, which could be a pretty big mover for the company. So keep in mind that's going on as well. I did want to take a look here at the SPY, and I still haven't voted in that damn poll. Hang on a sec. I'm terrible. I'm the worst. 13.
Captain Cloudy's mentioning CVS. They had earnings this morning, and they're moving up nicely. Or I'm sorry, they had earnings this morning.
Okay, voted in the poll, and I voted yes for just for clarity's sake, I suppose. Okay. Lyft is up off the lows. Whoever was just talking about Lyft. Okay, so you know what? I mean, let's see, those calls. Yeah, they're down. So my calls went from being up almost 100%, up 90% to down 65%. But again, they're cheapies. We'll ride it out. It was a lotto to begin with. We're going to stay with the plan. SPY here, reclaiming 600 on the SPY.
Let's see how this looks. Okay. Well, I don't want to make any predictions yet. Kindly, still hanging in there, trying to get it's back above my VWAP again, but it's looked like it's having a hard time holding up there. And there's a large amount of sellers relatively to the stock that's up at $198 and $2.
I have the VWAP at 1. I have it right at the VWAP as we speak.
WISA trying to push into new highs. It's making its way up to the 173 area where it was about 10 minutes ago.
Tesla also pushing to some new highs.
XLO above 140 again. Still trying to capture that VWAP. So Tesla is going up.
Is he mentioning Uber? Is that being? I actually am not surprised here. This was down on Lyft's report, and even Lyft is stronger here. So Lyft actually coming back, only down 8% here today. That'll be crazy if that ends up going.
Thoughts on BBAI? Well,
let me bring it up.
We had a nice run in this one last week. This week, it's kind of been cooling off. So, but today it looks like we could be trying to reverse. So let's see what happens there. If we can get back over and close 8, that'd be good. What's that?
AIFF is open. I had to sell into that.
Oh wow, nice.
This popped up to 13. Is coming back in. Giddy up, take that register ring there. Boom.
Hopefully that candle that we have right now. Okay, never mind. I was going to say, hopefully that candle doesn't end up looking neutral by the time it closes, because that could be a reversal if it does.
I just want to, on AIFF, one thing that I want to remind you folks from yesterday, I'll try and clean this chart up so it's fairly easy to see. We had this move out of the open that was pretty good, and we had a big red pullback candle. And look what that actually did. That actually set up for probably the best move of the day, right? Came right back into 479. This thing ramped through 562 up to 818. Another little pullback was bought in short order, and we went up to 1152. So now that we've made this initial move, let me fast forward to today. Now that we've made this initial move today, I'm actually going to mark this off right here just to see if this marks the top of that. And let's see if this stock does something similar and comes back through that. Okay, I actually have that high at 1330. I marked it off here at 1322. Let me correct that. Got that at 1330 exactly. Let's see if that same action that happened yesterday happens again here today on AIFF. I'm all out of this, but I will still be watching this here today as I flip around.
So AIFF, this candle that we just closed, this is not what we want to see, this neutral candle, because that kind of sets up the possibility for this to reverse. It could be a continuation, but it also could be a reversal. So that's not what you want to see.
And I'll tell you something again. If we're going to look back to what happened yesterday, if we're going to have, and again, what happened yesterday is not indicative of what's going to happen today. I'm just saying I'm trying to observe patterns here. If we do get a pullback and we pull back towards 12 or maybe even 1152, and then we start to curl there, you might have that same type of move. So just something to watch here. AIFF again, no position for me at present.
Looks like BBAI is going to try and recapture the 65 EMA on the 5-minute. Out of the gate, it was rejected there and it went beneath VWAP. Now that we're back above VWAP and over 8 again, it's going to try that same moving average again.
New high there on AIFF. This thing is still going 1359. Ryan, oh no, sorry, not Ryan. Crimp Biscuit asking Ryan, what time frame are those candles? The chart that you're currently looking at is the 5-minute candle. That is what the number is here in the watermark. AIFF, more new highs, 1376 now. Don't take this one off your radar yet. I don't think this one's done today. JJ wants you to define a neutral candle. I know 13, you were just saying that a neutral candle to me is one that shows that really the price could go anywhere next. I think perhaps the I'm using the wrong word. The neutral candle that I see and observe the most is probably a doji.
Yep. That's those can be neutral candles. Usually when they have the price is, basically flat and you have an equal or near equal length wicks on the top and bottom, that's a neutral candle. Whereas that's a doji. Whereas some bullish and bearish dojis would be like a gravestone doji, where the top wick is longer than the bottom wick, or a dragonfly doji, which is bullish, where it's the opposite of a gravestone. So it really depends on what these candles look like that make them neutral or not. And when the price action is relatively about the same, or kind of contained in an area, and they have the highs and lows that are about the same, that shows that there was no clear winner in that fight between the bears and the bulls, and it ends up being a neutral candle. So you can look up what these different candles are that are neutral versus bearish versus bullish, and you'll really see the differences in them pretty clearly. So some homework assignment for you to do at some point. But yeah, neutral candles, they typically don't have price action that are clearly defined going in one way or the other. It's just kind of flat mostly.
AIFF, another bust through 14, high print there, 1445. That thing is an absolute rocket. This is great. We've caught another one. By the way, ONDS, I know this is a long-term hold for me, and it's not one that I necessarily trade around a lot, but kudos to you folks, because not only was I able to tell you about a ticker, but you're doing exactly what we want. You're trading it your own way from the patterns that you observe. And oh my God, that is so great. Izzy, great job scalping this. Shrikar, look, these dips keep getting bought here. And like I said, I've got a pretty good long-term view on this one. I think we're in good shape. Jay Rice, good morning. It's great to see you again. I know you had said earlier here I couldn't comment on it right away. LEU says, what CPI print? LEU ripping higher here. This not even a surprise. I feel like this is up every single day that we talk about it. New all-time highs here on LEU. Jay, you're going to get a registering on this. You've been on this since last year, and it has been a huge payer for us. By the way, AIFF pulling back now. Let's see where it settles and see if we get another trade set up there.
C spot, that's another type of neutral candle. It's a spinning top. So basically that's like just a regular doji where, but it's got a larger body. So you have the about equal length wicks on the top and bottom, but you have the real body having a little bit more price action than a doji where it's practically flat.
SMCI getting asked about this, came into 40 and then bounced 4 points. This is volatile here today, pretty much right at the VWAP right now on SMCI. Remember, that was the preliminary Q2 financial results. They did also say in that they would have their missed earnings filed by the February 25th deadline. That's definitely playing into the positivity here that you're seeing in SMCI.
Which
or that
one?
You saw in the print.
Which one? Is it going to be all three?
I think it's that first one.
Okay.
But I love that you're asking the tough questions. I wish that you were an analyst on that call, or Big of Bees, because I feel like you guys would do a better job than some of the analysts that are going to be on that call.
They'd never have me back.
But that's probably good for investors, isn't it? That's what I would say. By the way, SPY continuing to bounce here. When those results are out, I'll let you know what they are. SPY here just crossed 601, at least briefly there. Remember, this thing fell from 605 and change. Sorry, go ahead.
Did you think AIFF was done?
No, I was very clear about that.
Okay. Sorry, I missed that. But
no. I said I don't think this one is done here. Okay. I think this might be and look at the level that it bounced from.
Yep.
Had marked this off in the chart. Said when it was pushing up here, we're going to mark this off and see if this level comes back into play. Cool.
Buyer started stepping in there.
Cool. That worked. By the way, lift continuing to lift. I'm going to wear that joke out, folks. I'm going to wear that joke out here today as long as lift keeps trading up. 1320.
Carmen jumping into RCAT. So you're playing the
what a great day again.
You're playing that presentation, right? I mean, that's my assumption, but yeah.
Yeah. I think Carmen has a long-term view on RCAT and has been following a lot of the news. Carmen often anticipates some of the things that are happening here. So, if you're adding around one of those conferences, I think you're probably expecting some type of news to come out there. Maybe you'll get that. Lion saying, good morning, Lion. I have faith in SMCI. Okay, well, that makes one of us.
Yeah, they just delayed another filing, and this stock is ripping. But okay, so that's 3 delayed filings.
Kindly here, up to 210.
Yeah, this is trying to get over that 210 area. It's testing it again now. If we have another long wick like we had in the previous 2 5-minute candles, I don't know that I'd be wanting to touch this again. We just came up to the pre-market high. Let's see if we can break through it. That would be 220. Your Hormel chili indicator. Please provide a link. I'd love to see that.
Hormel chili indicator. That one I think I'm going to need explained.
Oh wow! Look at GER. I don't know what's going to happen. It looks like it's setting up to go, but as long as it holds VWAP, I'm curious. But man, this thing is so spready. Let's see, what's the spread on this like?
KDLY, bang, 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 right through those highs. Sorry, I was texting, handling some stuff on the side.
Well, there we go. So the next big resistance area in that one that I see a lot of sellers at is going to be just beneath 240. All right, so let's see what happens with GER, if that's going to go up. AIFF, still green candles. What?
I was going to say, I'll tell you what, I know it's early and I am not trying to jinx anybody or make any early calls, but good Lord, buy the dippers, at least so far, have worked. Here's a look at Apple. Here's a look at Apple, almost back to flat. Here's a look at Netflix. This went red-green. Jay did a really good job covering LEU, which actually did dip in the pre-market and ripped higher, dipped on very low volume, by the way. A lot of these names doing the same thing. Amazon, Izzy's been already trading Amazon a whole bunch here. I know it hasn't gone green, but it is trying to bounce as well. I tell you what, so far, by the dip, by the way, the Q's breadth turned positive here. We'll see if any of these other indices turn positive. I'll let you know if I come across that. Smoke Tuna says, Ryan, I'm proud of you making amazing calls. Sometimes a blind nut finds a squirrel, Smoke Tuna. But bonjour. Welcome. Ryan, Staff Sergeant Ryan, I'm going to keep addressing you as that because that's my favorite. My man, it hasn't gotten much attention the last couple of days, but yesterday and today, Boeing hitting a key support with 3 months up trend line. Tell you what, as far as Boeing goes here, still in that play, by the way. Still in that play. Would actually consider adding, depending on what we get here. As long as we hold some of these moving averages, giddy up, Ryan. I think we're in good shape. This is the trend line, the uptrend that I believe you're talking about. We're absolutely still in that. I still think 192 and 200 are possible near-term targets here for Boeing. I'm with you on that.
I have faith in the stock just based on the technical move. We had a golden cross earlier this month. I think at the very least we see the 500-day SMA or $200. I think that should be coming. What happens afterwards, I don't really know. It looks like we could continue to go up, and if we are going to continue with this broadening wedge we've been in since the end of 2022, this thing's potentially headed to 300.
Boeing here, by the way, also up off the lows like some of those other ones. So really good stuff. Still in this trade, still long in this trade.
Kindly hitting 240.
Let me go back to my main workspace here.
And higher. This thing is ripping.
Yeah, it is. But I tell you what, I didn't hit this one. We hit AIFF. I missed KDLY. This was a good one, though. Again, another winner here.
Yeah, I see some sellers at 260, but I think there could be more resistance at 270. So we'll say that range, 260 to 270. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's totally my fault. I totally jumped in there, and I'm coming from a different thought here. Given the CPI print today, don't we have Powell on his second day of testimony here today too?
Yeah.
So I wonder if the new data point is going to lead to a series of questions in the testimony here today. If that's the case, I would imagine that those investors would be hanging and investors and traders would be hanging on those words. I would have to think so. That would what might be another catalyst. Take a look at here.
Certainly, messed with the market yesterday when he was talking, and then it was back to normal after he was done, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, Webcoin mentioning hollow.
Really?
Is that doing things?
I'm surprised if that's the case because Lynn and Randy would be in here. It sure is.
You know what? This is I feel stupid. It's February, one of the 2 months where this thing does its random run. Remember, it's August and February. It does this every year so far. It's been doing this every year for a while now, like a couple of years.
AIFF losing that 1330 spot at the moment. Watch VWAP here, 1184. I'll see if we come in towards that. I have it at 1195 in my broker, so maybe we get that as well. Regarding that Hormel thing, Nick here, purely anecdotal. And I'll say this. First of all, Nick, I appreciate that you're prefacing it by saying purely anecdotal. But look, some of the patterns, some of the things that I've recognized, they have started off as anecdotal things that someone else has told me or that I've realized. So I don't poo-poo that just because it's anecdotal, but I do appreciate the preface there. Hormel almost always moves up on low trading days and down on high trading days. It's also a low moving stock, so its volatility isn't that scary. This makes it a lot easier to hold overnight. I've been watching it for a few months. My knee-jerk reaction to that, Nick, is that Hormel seems more of like a defensive move. So when there's not a whole lot going on, it's easier to trade or maybe be in that name. Whereas when something big is happening and rotation is happening or portfolio adjustments are happening, Hormel gets left on the back burner, for lack of a better term. That would be my guess. I'm not sure if that's the case, but that's kind of how I would look at it. That bird is not happy about the snow. I'll tell you that.
BBAI coming up to a bit of a resistance area. I'm sorry, this is pre-market or after. The after hours high yesterday was 835, kind of hitting the 830 highs from this morning as well. So we might be coming up to a little bit of resistance. I don't know how far this could pull if it's going to see some selling, but it was a nice move up through the 200 EMA. But I think it might pull back here a little bit before it tries to push higher.
Trendline break on BBAI really sent it. Excuse me.
Yeah. And
XLO, this was disappointing. I'll tell you what, sorry for cutting you off there, but XLO, this had one of the better catalysts that I thought here today, and the performance poor.
Well, wait until after the lunch hour. This thing could turn around.
Right. No, you're right about that. So good call.
We'll wait and see what happens to that. Kindly, it almost hit 260. This is one of the better movers this morning. I don't know where this ends up really, but AIFF still going higher, or trying to.
Kindly, a huge move. I gotta say, Chris here, nice live call here by Chris. Long AIFF from 1285. Chris, that was a really good spot. Mm-hmm. You actually got already 50 cents here, and if you rip through that 1330, you might have even more than that.
Well, let's see what we get. Because I mean, look, if we take out that 1445, then I think 16's on the table. That really dumb level that I was getting laughed at earlier for.
It's fun too, ain't it? When you get laughed at and then something happens and you're sitting there like,
it's okay.
It's fun.
I've been wrong before, so it's okay. But when it works out, it's even funnier.
Well, that's see, without the bitter, the sweet just isn't as sweet, right? So without being wrong a bunch of times, perhaps you can't appreciate when you're right all of the time.
Oh, just yeah, Izzy, I'm watching BBAI.
I was gonna say you told me to watch BBAI. By the way, AIFF through 1330. Chris, what's your target here? You looking for high a day, maybe a bust above? I think we also have a intraday trend here that we are testing. Let's see if we go through this right here.
Ken is mentioning XLO. Did this thing start to turn around? Well, it looks like it's trying to. Haven't really gotten some confirmation. I'd like to see a little bit more curling in the MACD, but you're right. It does look like it's trying to find a bottom here, and it looks like that bottom is going to be at about 120. But let's just give it a little bit more time. I'm not sold on this yet. I want to see some better bottoming than this.
AIFF, it is through that trend line. Let's see if we get a close on this 5-minute candle through that. I would never laugh at 13's crazy levels. He's like 95%. I'm waiting for 16, baby. Oh, dude. I first of all, 13, I absolutely love that you're building up that kind of rep. When your crazy predictions end up coming true, giddy up. I'm here for it.
It's funny too, because these are just kind of like, okay, well, let's see where some of these EMAs are. Okay, well, here's a level it could potentially get to. Let's just throw it out there and see what happens. And to be fair, they stick. And
to be fair, you always seem like, I don't know if this is going to happen, but then it ends up happening. So to be fair, those are pretty good. You outline the risks ahead of that. KDLY, big pull here now. This is actually what I was. So I'm just getting a little happy with the trend lines here this morning. This is why I outlined this in AIFF. I looked like we were setting up for maybe the same thing. This would be interesting here if it pulls back to VWAP. Let me go back to AIFF. You could see how different this actually is. But actually, it's trying to, okay. So now it's actually trying to back test not only the trend line, but also the 1330 level. This is going to be a key hold here for AIFF, in my opinion.
Yeah, it looks like BBAI making new highs still. Might get a little bit of a pull here, but let's see what happens. Oh, AIFF, is that finally coming in?
Well, it's I'll tell you what, it's volatile right here. This 1330 level, this is a very clear spot we're battling here. We actually pulled beneath it. We got bought right back above it. Now we're testing it again. I have no position.
Looks like things are just kind of setting up again. Not sure about CVS. That should have made a move by now. GUR, is now slightly beneath VWAP, but not really moving a lot. WISA, this thing is
this battle here, AIFF. Diamond Hotline, dude, where do you see the trend? It's literally right on the screen here. Right on the screen, right here. And we are coming to something's going to happen here in the next few minutes. I'm watching, no position.
Eli, thanks for the compliment, man. I appreciate it.
You are a genius.
Stop it.
Smoke Tuna saying AIFF looks like buy dips. I would concur with that.
Just be careful. You know, we need to see that move happen sooner than later. And the longer it doesn't happen, the more I would be concerned about this getting pulled. Yeah,
the other thing, the volume is one of the other things that I'm watching here. So these levels are one thing, but the volume is one of the other things that I'm watching. I really want to see an expansion like we saw here around the 10 o'clock hour. Mm-hmm. If we get that, I think that might be, here we go. Let's see if this candle actually expands here. This actually turned into a selling candle. It broke both of those. See if it closes beneath AIFF. Yep. Okay, so let's see. 13 tests coming here now. Still volatile.
And then watch somebody just come in and squeeze out all that bearishness. That'd be funny. Not sure that WISA looks like it's slowing down, but it hasn't stopped selling. Let's see what's going on. What's up?
I'm literally battling myself. I think you're seeing FOMO, like, because like part of me thinks that this thing might rip again, and although I've already done pretty well on it, I kind of want to get more. And maybe we're riding the trend line down here. You know what I'm gonna do?
Smaller position, maybe.
Well, I'm gonna reset and realign my chi. I'm going to look at something else, and we'll come back to this. We'll see how things change. I'm sure as soon as I take it off now, you guys will holler that it's ripping. But whatever, it'll be all right. XLO, this is trying to come back to the VWAP here. You were mentioning WISA. This thing looks like pissa. Sorry. I mean, that was the first thing that came to mind. This looks terrible. This looks terrible. Lightbridge here getting asked about Brit, saying, "What do you guys think of Lightbridge here?" Boy, I got a level on here from something else.
That's most. I think that's a good strategy there. If it doesn't hold 12, then it's time to leave. I agree. And Izzy, thank you for the dad compliment.
What was the dad compliment? 13 is the dad of the program. Love it. Aren't I older than you?
I don't think so.
I don't know if you want me to even talk about age here, so I'm just going to slack it to you.
Yeah.
I could have sworn I was, but maybe not.
Oh, no, I got you beat.
Okay. Okay. Well, you're all right, Dad. That's fine then. Eli here is asking, are you guys using Benzinga as the platform to day trade? This is a good question. No, we're showing you the platform here because this is how we identify, look things up, and then educate ourselves about different stocks and plays. All of my order execution is being done through the broker. Yep. And I use a different broker than 13. So we use different brokers as well.
Oh, I'm not a grandpa, but I hope to be one day R Alpha.
You could be a young dad, right? That's true, Smoke Tuna. That's true. All right.
Looks like GER is trying to hold VWAP. Volume is not great, but if we start to see expansion here, we could see a push up over 23.16, which is the current intraday high.
Britt, sorry, I know I got distracted there again. I'm like a goldfish here. You were asking what we thought here of Lightbridge. This, again, one of the stocks that's in the whole nuclear theme. So given what we've seen from the nuclear stocks and what we've seen from the new administration and some of the cabinet members and how they're fans of nuclear energy and all of that, I actually kind of like this. As far as the actual chart here, I wouldn't be chasing an 18% move just personally. I'd try and identify some levels here. We can go to our resident genius and see if we have some levels on here, if 13's available. But I mean, I would just use some of the moving averages, either from the EMAs or even from some of the SMAs. I do like this. I don't have necessarily like a thought on the current price level here. It does seem extended, and I wouldn't want to chase 18%. So maybe if this can come back in 10 or maybe even $8 in there, I think this has a lot of positive tailwinds for it, though, given the theme that it's in. What did I miss?
It's a hidden message now, but it was a very sweet compliment from Gary Frost.
A hidden message.
You guys are hilarious. Well, it looks like it's held for review. Anyway, I don't know if it's up to me or not to post that, but I appreciate the compliment, Gary.
I can't even see it. Where are you seeing this?
In the chat. Should I just hit show? Hit show.
I still don't see it.
I see it. Oh, maybe it's because I see it on YouTube, not the streaming platform. Anyway, it's not important. I
need to know now. I'm way too curious. F it.
Well, you want me to read it?
Sure.
13. Your awesome calls put you to sex symbol level, my man.
It's not even that bad.
I know, but we're trading stocks, folks.
Yeah, are you getting all hot and bothered over there?
Me? No. Well.
Yeah, that I don't understand how that works.
Kindly, 287 has not halted yet. This thing is having a big move right now. Looks like we lost 13 on AIFF. So be careful. MACD is starting to roll over here. Be careful with AIFF. And there we just went down to VWAP. Now let's see if there's the buy the dippers come in. As a matter of fact, there might be dip buying at the high of the pre-market, which was 1201. So maybe if it comes down and tests 12 again, the buy the dippers might come in and pick this up, just as some of the folks are saying. I'm a stock symbol.
Oh, I tell you what, Wednesday is often one of the better days here, and that is shaping up to be the case again.
There we go with GER. That's what we needed to see. I bet CVS is starting to look better now. A little bit better, but hasn't broken the highs yet. So far I've been called genius, sex symbol, but really, folks, what it comes down to is we're just lucky.
I'd say. Upstart, this is now up 30% post earnings. So we had that little CPI dip and a rip. New highs here. Just an unbelievable report. Huge beat. Short interest probably propelling this as well. 30+%.
I totally pin this on the bearish expectation for what earnings was supposed to have, and the complete opposite happened. There were people that were short this that are just getting absolutely squeezed. That has to be what went down here, and we're just seeing it because it was a big move in the after hours after the earnings, and now it seems that this is an even bigger move in the regular session. So the shorts are just getting killed in this thing.
Yep. All right, look around here. Lyft smoked. Lyft actually coming back in. How are some of the other ones? How's like EA doing? Still have a trailer on this one. We'll see if that holds on EA. It's impossible to lose at this point.
Oh man, look at this rebound in AIFF. This thing went down to, what was the low here on this candle? This thing went down to 1221. We're almost back up to 13.
I have that as the 15 EMA on the 5 too. Pretty much a dead test of it.
CLMT, this one doesn't look great to me. I'm sorry for even bringing it up, but it was one of the movers I had on the list.
CLFT, was that it?
No, CLMT. The
CLMT. Yep.
Yes, XLO is still trying to come back. We're almost up to VWAP. I think that 140 level is super important for the stock. We need to start closing over it multiple times. So far, ever since the went beneath that level in the pre-market, there has not been a more than one candle closing above this. So 140, super important level that the price needs to get back over. All right, I think we might be starting to see the next move in BBAI. High of the day right now is at 839, almost there, trying to push through that the seller's wall and get over 840. We have
But really quickly here, Hans, you're saying long Oklo. What was the trigger here on Oklo? Just the fact that the dip and rip here. I'm just wondering because Britt was asking about Lightbridge earlier, and those two are kind of related.
okay. There we are with the BBAI. That broke the high, and we're going higher now. The upside target I have here, I mentioned this before, but it's 925. That's the one and I don't know if we're going to get there today, but I've said that before, and it just slowly made its way up there over the course of the day. So it's possible, but 925 is the upside target I have at this stage.
All right, folks, the results are in. Buy the dip after the CPI. The winning vote, yes, with 55% of the vote. The buy the dippers are in this channel. Or at least they seem to be. 23% say not sure, and 20% say no. So there you go. Buy the dip, 55% in the yes side. Lightbridge looks like this is going for some more new highs. Watch that 13 level. Interestingly enough, that back tested that 1260 level pretty perfectly. I see a lot of penny stocks on the list here now. Someone was asking about TEM earlier. Did this catch a downgrade? Yeah, William Blair downgrades Tempest AI to market perform. So someone was asking about that earlier. We ran out of time to cover that. They didn't give a price target. And they didn't have a previous price target. Take that with a grain of salt, I suppose.
Yeah, it still looks like AIFF could go lower unless some bulls come in and start bidding the price up. Kindly, on the other hand, this thing is about to hit 3. What a great move here.
Hans saying regarding my OKLO question, usually when OKLO sells 2 days, it will go back up. Okay, so again here, trading a pattern that you have noticed.
I love it.
Me too.
I love it. I love the pattern recognition. Well done. I love it. Let's keep that in mind when we look at OKLO.
Izzy, Apple exploring robots. What that would affect Tesla. I like your call there.
What is that? The next thing they're not going to innovate? Sorry, that was a mean question.
Well, I mean, yeah, they'll probably just copy it and make it better. I mean, I don't. Some of the talk about robots is frightening to me, and I don't mean violence.
Yeah, you mean iRobot?
Yeah, it's just there's a lot there's been a lot of talk about sex robots and stuff, and I'll be honest, that whole thing just weirds me out. So I don't want to read too much into that, but just be aware that's going on.
How about a robot that ups your game so you don't have to do that? Let's do that. That's a great idea.
Read a book.
Or have a robot read you the book.
What is with the obsession with robots?
Because I watched Terminator and I know what's going to happen.
But that should be a reason to not want a robot walking around your house all the time. Anyway.
There's no catalyst really with KDLY, Jonathan. It's I think we identified that it was moving on relative volume. They also have a share repurchase program. They have 2 to 3 quarters of cash, and they have a partnership with Cigna that's helping people into their facility. So they have some good behind the scenes things going on. But as far as the catalyst for today, it's just relative volume. There was something that it was doing yesterday, probably share repurchases. So.
Real quick here, Lightbridge. Britt, you got me like looking at Lightbridge now. I'm like seeing stuff about Lightbridge all over the place. Definitely seeing some repeat call buys here. 10 calls, maybe that was a close and then rolled into the 15 calls for February. Those are the monthly calls, 15 calls for February. Lightbridge up 21.5% here on the back of that significant milestone in its nuclear fuel development. Volume looks really good here too, LTBR. And now that we're kind of, I think that at this point, you're at least going to test this double top. I wouldn't be shocked if this moved through it.
For kindly, because it does look like we're getting close to some of the all-time highs in the stock. 310 looks like the next level that it needs to get through. After that, you have 325, 350, and then 420.
Which stock is this? Sorry.
It's kindly KDLY.
ADLY.
And BBAI still doing great. Still doing great. 854 now the current high. GER, that resolved the way it was supposed to. That bull flag bounced off of the VWAP, made new highs. 2350 new high of the day. WISA, I don't know what if this is going to turn around here, but it's starting to look like there's more of a bottom forming. I'm not calling the bottom here. It just looks like it's trying to turn around.
AIFF rejected at 1330. So happy that we noted that spot earlier today. Let's see what the Twitter streets bring us.
With the Disney ending on the. All right. We need more smart Alec Alice robots like on the Jetsons, man. If oh man, you know how many robots get destroyed just because people would get so frustrated with that smart mouth, it would just take a bat to it.
Wait, where's Voodoo at? We need those specialty shotgun rounds for robots. Danny, are you looking at this ALCE, this 6-cent OTC stock? What? Anyway,
you know, I dare I say that AIFF is trying to try to fight against the trend here. That 5-minute candle that we put in 2 candles ago, that could have been that looks pretty reversal right off the VWAP hammer. If we get a little bit more volume, this thing may trade back up towards 14. It's just going to be volume for this thing at this point. It's got some of the technical indicators there.
Volume, and can it get above 1330? Yeah. That'd be my question there.
You know, maybe if you're still in this, maybe just consider, tightening your stops a little bit, just in case it does pull on you.
Lyft still trying to trade higher despite those earnings. ONDS, some pretty strong performance as well. AIFF just lost the VWAP there. Smoke Tuna, I think your call is going to end up working out here. Could not get above 1330. We printed at that level 3 candles in a row, 3 5-minute candles in a row. So for 15 minutes, we just didn't have the strength to get back above it despite holding the VWAP. Now we've actually cracked VWAP. That should be the next resistance area.
Oh, your VWAP's quite high compared to mine.
I've got it at I've got it at 12. What? Oh no, excuse me. I'm sorry. Shit, that's the 15 EMA. I have them as similar colors. I gotta change that. That's dumb.
My VWAP's at 1241.
My VWAP is at 1199. So I guess it's still kind of
off.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's just the difference between brokers. Ryan's face and 13's voice. Well, I settles it. You're prettier than I am.
That's might be the first time I've heard that. I don't know what else to tell you. AIFF, the more I look at this, I would want this to firm up here. I think we could probably look for something else. Lightbridge still continuing to go higher here.
Yeah, like, BBAI, this has been a pretty good one so far this morning. Looks like, and I'm not taking my eyes off WISA. It looks like it really is making an effort to try and turn around, but I'm just waiting for the MACD to show me that it is. Kindly still doesn't seem to be quite finished, but the volume doesn't look as good as it used to, so still could be topped out here.
Well, remember, we had a similar type of formation here where I had a downtrend, and when we went through it, it gave a great trade. So I guess you could see if you get that again. Holy smokes, Tesla calls, WTF. Lots of Tesla calls. Those are the contracts that expire this Friday, swept up in multiple 100-lot blocks there. Tesla at the highs intraday now. I'll tell you what, a close over that 335 level that we had I have it on my other chart here. I'll go to it. It closed over that 335, which is where that 100-day was. That would be great for Tesla. And we were just talking about where's the next level on this? Where could we maybe trade this? Well, let me draw you another picture here. If we look at Tesla and we get a recapture of this and a close above it, I think that's your trade setup then, right? And I think you could probably trade against a close beneath that level as your stop.
Oh, man. I'm just keeping an eye on AIFF because it's not breaking down. BBAI still pushing higher. I mean, the more it does this, the more likely 925 is looking. A little bit more of a pull here in Kindly.
Imagine, if you will, Ryan with a 13 beard. So I've never had like the Grizzly Adams beard that 13 has, but I did have like the goatee. And I've done a couple of things. My facial hair grows in.
Yeah. You remember when I had like that huge, massive beard when I first started doing this?
Yep.
Man, when you cut beards off like that, you can do some fun things on the way to the full shave because you can do things like handlebars. I did that for one day just to see how if it would my wife would say anything. Apparently, it really irritated her. I don't have a good look for the handlebar.
So thankfully, you only did it for one day because you're still married. That's important.
But I still went out in public with it because why not?
So I've never done this, but my brother one time, who's older, kind of a goofball, he shaved. He had a beard and mustache. And he shaved half of the mustache off on one side.
Nice.
And then half of the beard on the other side. So he had half of a mustache on one side and half of a beard on the other side. He showed up at school on Halloween like that.
Beard deco. Volume seems to be coming in AIFF. Oh, shoot. Still has to get above. It really just needs to hold 13. Hold me.
That's what's that from? Reminds me of Thunderball when Domino is dancing with James Bond. But she says it's the way that you hold me. Never mind. Okay. Anyway, Brett, you're asking about Confluence here. CFLT. You're asking if it was too extended. Strategic partnership with Geo Platform Limited to accelerate India's Department of Gen AI and next-gen applications with data streams through the Geo Cloud Service. Also reported it beat on the top and the bottom line.
Oh, so thank you, Nicole, for Bullfrog AI. That's BFRG. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. I don't. I'm still in the trying to figure stuff out. Lots of re-ratings here. Is this too extended? Well, you do have some more of these targets up in the 40s, mid 40s, it looks like. Yeah, low 40s, mid 40s for some of these targets. So maybe there is a little bit more room here. Same as what we said earlier, though. Not a huge fan of chasing 18% moves for the purpose of holding.
Oh, nice work, R Alpha. He just killed it in Tesla. And oh my goodness, AIFF.
Going back to it.
There's a fight happening here.
I'm telling you, 1330.
Yeah, 1330. Well, it popped up a little over that a little bit, and then it started selling. But you're right, 1330. And now we have a
now there's your pull. Yep.
Now it's really starting to look like this wants to come in.
Stay focused here, saying Ryan, you need the Ron Burgundy look. Stay focused. I don't believe you.
Well, instead of saying stay focused, you'll be saying stay classy.
Okay, but still, I'm not a huge fan of the 70s porn stash. Not the look that I'm going for, but appreciate you. Stay focused. Britt, I'm sorry I don't have any more for you on CFLT. I wish I did.
Let me look at it.
Yeah, I was going to say, let me know. We could always look at the chart for some of this. CFLT. I have to get the ticker correct too, half these times. I would definitely watch yesterday's intraday high, see if it breaks out. The chart looks like it wants to go higher, just to my eye. 40 would probably be a pretty important level. It's just I don't really follow this one. We are in overbought territory too after today. I mean, you know what? Now, I'll say this: if we pulled back at all and held 34 anywhere in there, I could see this resetting a lot of stuff. I could see this resetting some of the RSI and then maybe gearing up for another move higher through 40.
Is this a big India angle? Is that what the play is here? I'm just trying to look into this a little bit more.
Well, that's part of it, right? So they announced some pretty good earnings, beat on the top and the bottom line, and a decent guide, but they also have a strategic partnership here. Confluent and Databricks partner to usher in a new age of real-time AI. Remember, we're kind of waiting on a Databricks IPO here, but then also this partnerships with Geo Platforms, and that is designed to accelerate India's development of Gen AI.
Sounds interesting to me.
Powell is on. Now, is this going to be a nothing burger like yesterday? Because I feel like it didn't really do a whole lot yesterday.
I thought we got some market movement out of his.
Maybe the market just didn't feel all that crazy yesterday. Volume was still pretty low.
CFLT seems to be kind of breaking out over a resistance area, which looks to be at about 34.50, somewhere about there. This move that we're in right now, I would think that you may see resistance at 37.75, about that level. If we continue with this upside movement, I think that's going to be a big resistance level to watch for.
And then 40 above that.
Yes.
Like I said, to my eye, it looks like it wants to go. RSI a little on the high side at the moment.
All right. So we got some movement down in Kindly. That's down to near its VWAP. XLO, when do you know? It's going sideways. AIFF losing VWAP. That might be it for this one. For now, anyway. Let's see what happens at 12 even, because that's the pre-market high.
12
CBS
even. I've got my VWAP there at 1204, and this time I'm quoting you the right study.
Well, even BBAI getting a little bit of a pull here. That's maybe something that we need to kind of just wait for the market to handle, and then there might be some setups.
Britt, I agree with you. That chart does look good. Good looking chart. OMGA, Adine, I know that you're mentioning, we generally don't cover penny stocks. I think a lot of the stuff, unless it's really, really ripping. This is a penny stock that's really just given up a whole lot from yesterday's move. I don't really see anything here. Filed bankruptcy yesterday and announced the company merging to pay debts and rebuild the company. Maybe it works. I think that me personally, and I'm sorry for being negative on it. It's just a 20-cent stock here. I'm not trying to bet the farm on that. TEM keeps going up daily, says Lion. That's surprising. We caught a downgrade from William Blair today. Looks like red green on that downgrade. Definitely bullish here. That Pelosi push too strong. Too strong. CPI what? I'm having another good day here. This has been a series of good days.
CPI creating opportunities. Well, CVS still, incrementally putting in new highs. It's slow, but it's doing it. XLO coming up to VWAP again. MACD looks like it's curling. XLO may get going here. Let's just watch for that volume to expand, because it's looking like it's giving it a go here.
I want to see this actually get above that VWAP, because the last time that we made some spikes up there on volume, we couldn't cross it. We'll see if we get above 142 here. XLO.
Looks like GUR trying to find some support here at about 2230. Still above VWAP, my VWAP anyway.
Sorry, I'm
No worries.
Building something here for work.
Lightbridge, the best runner so far today. You know, I don't even have that brought up here in my. Oh, there's some others that have been moved higher than this, but that is a very, very nice move. You're right about that. Very little in the way of pullbacks. Gosh, on my broker, I only have one red candle. All right, looks like BBAI still itching for 925. Grab running. Yes, that one I agree with. Upstart best. That's the best one. Grab running. Let's see what that looks like. Well, it's got up 5%. Really nice move. That was a nice setup there. You had a bull flag, and then these next 4 candles that put in just massive. Well done if you traded that one. And kindly tried to push up. It wasn't successful. Back down near its VWAP right now.
Okay.
XLO, just waiting for that to see if it can get over VWAP. Okay.
I am watching XLO here, and it's flirting with that VWAP.
Certainly is. A little flirt. Things are slowing down. BBI to 950 by March. Well, I think you'll get it sooner than that. We hit that last week, I think. Let me see.
Yeah, if that's coming back into the VWAP, we'll know pretty soon if that's going to work.
Yeah, Nicholas, we hit 970 on Friday, so I agree. We'll get there easily by March. Shoot, we could get there today. AIFF beneath VWAP.
XLO still trying for that VWAP. A lot of stock being traded right short of that VWAP too on XLO.
Oh,
BBAI new highs now. Wow, BBAI. Congrats to whoever was in this one.
it's fantastic move. $11 or $12 on AIFF. If you're wondering where this reverses, I'd think probably 11 would be better. The 65 EMA is at 1105, and that has been supporting the price action. It gave it support in the pre-market, and we reversed and haven't been down there since. So definitely an interesting area where we could see support.
She is trying to get into the sports betting. There was a pop there on XLO, by the way, through the VWAP here. Here we go on XLO.
All right. MACD is curling up. We're getting a crossing. Let's see it take out 152.
152 is your high print there.
Mm-hmm. We want to see it hit 170. And look at BBAI. We're almost at 9. Almost at 9. BBAI.
Almost there.
Almost there. As soon as it hits 925, it's away. I watch movies.
Yeah, so do I.
No problem, C-Spot.
Here we go. We're coming for that 152. I think we're doing it right now.
Taking the trade in XLO?
I'm in it.
Oh,
139 is the entry here. I want to hit a 152 break and sell into strength.
Fantastic.
That's the trade plan.
Now you got a trailing stop on there?
I got no stop on here. I got my finger over the button.
Okay.
One of the things for the stop here, I wouldn't be shocked if this kind of just like flash pulled back down to one of those levels. So I kind of want to do it myself. We are trading back up towards 152. We'll see if we take that out here.
We're right approaching this large area of sellers at 149 and 150. You need to see a big increase in volume to get through this right here. And BBAI,
See
899.
if we end up getting it here. See, this is where we were coming back in. Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not trying to talk down to you, Nicholas. I'm glad that you're putting money where your mouth is, but I think that we're going to see it much sooner than March. But if that's what your calls are when they expire, then you're going to be doing great, my man. And look at that, we're over 9 now. We are 19 cents away from 9.25.
Come on, XLO, let's go.
You need to see that big increase in volume to get through 150.
Yeah. And I'm wondering now if we're kind of rolling back here. We did see some of those volume spikes.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Okay, so you took some profit on AIFF at 12.58. Great. Great. Because it still looks like it could go lower. Getting a little pull here in BBAI after hitting 910.
Here we go, XLO. Come on. Kick up. One more. There we go. There's some size here, 148 and 149. See if we hit 152. Let's get it rolling. Now I'm definitely stop right at VWAP, so I can't possibly lose here, 13.
Love to hear it.
I want to see a break above 152. That's the plan. Let's get it.
I want to see you get it. Oh, man. She bubbling.
Just trying.
And yeah, we are keeping an eye on BBAI. That's trying to get back into the 9 handle again.
This trade is pretty. I can actually put something else on the screen because this trade is pretty clear as day. What's going to happen here? It's either going to work or it isn't. Here is your BBAI though.
Yeah, this one also trying to get up to that 925 area still. WISA still going sideways. At this stage, it doesn't look like it's going to make that recovery yet because we have not seen the MACD curl, and some of these moving averages are bearing down on it, providing some more resistance. So if that continues to happen, this thing is going to lose its support at 135.
Any projections on how far XLL can go? No, not really. We're just looking for a specific spot to break here and stopped out as it goes back to VWAP. Damn, that kind of sucks. Oh well.
The where XLO
still made money off it, so
well, it's great. But where XLO could go, because the next level that I have here is 170. I mentioned these levels earlier. We have 170. We have $2, 195, $2, and then 225, and then 240. Those are the next upside levels I see, and we have a pre-market high of 202. BBAI back over 9 for the time being, and that's about all that looks good at the moment. Still getting some slow upward movement in CDS. May start to see some selling if it runs into pressure at 64. And there's so now WISA had just did a drop down to the 65 EMA and sort of rebounded, but the volume still doesn't look great. I would have loved to see more volume come in and help reverse this and push it back up over that consolidation it's been putting in for the past 20 minutes or so.
And this is WISA, W-I-S-A?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that volume is not there, though. I don't know what's going to happen with this, but so far it looks like lower is in the cards. Okay. BBAI still making new highs. We're at 912 now. Just 13 cents away from my target.
XLO pulled. Sometimes your first stop is your best stop.
Well done.
Boop.
Did you just boop XLO?
I did. Yes, I did. Yeah, straight up, I did.
Nice. Looks like GUR is starting to get a little bit more action here.
We have another trade maybe there on GUR.
I would like to see if it can get past 23.25, and if it can, then well, the volume needs to look a lot better, and the MACD isn't really appealing to me, so I'm not sure. We could go up to like 23.25 and then reverse. We just need to see better volume.
Okay.
BBAI 917. And interestingly, AIFF is still trying to fight, going sideways.
Ryan, Uber over Lyft. Izzy, I know, man. There were two different trades. Come on now. The quantum stocks moving. Someone mentioned Rigetti earlier. I didn't go to it because we were in the middle of something else. Quantum stocks indeed are moving.
Buy the dip, increase the risk. What's Bitcoin doing? Did that reverse as well? Because that is the ultimate risk asset.
So Bitcoin did, that's exactly what I was checking. Bitcoin did bounce. This is the futures chart at the CBOE. Bitcoin did bounce off the 94K low, currently at just shy of 96K. These quantum stocks are definitely outperforming the bounce in Bitcoin without question.
BBAI, the current high of day, is 925.
Yo, no chill on BBAI, no pullbacks at all today. This thing just kept moving higher.
Yeah, was no, I don't even know if I
volume. Sorry for interrupting. Volume continuing to expand here on BBAI until this ends. I'm not even sure that this is done. OKLO right back to the highs. More calls getting bought here. These are the 58s.
Well, if we are going to get more upside in BBAI, then $10 would be my next target. I don't know that we'll get there. We only could get as high as 970 on Friday. Regardless, I'm sure that Nicholas, your calls are doing great right now, man.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Okay. Well, kindly still holding VWAP, but I don't like the way the MACD looks. And XLO is going lower. It was a really good stop. And
BABA trying to take out its pre-market highs. Boy, how good does David Tepper look after that end of year Chinese stock ad?
AIFF looks like it could go.
Now that we came in and tested VWAP, look at that.
Let's see what it gives us.
1330 would be my first upside target if it does in fact go.
Yeah. Volume needs to be better than this if it's going to get up there. Seems like we're getting a little bit of a pull in a lot of these that we were just trading this morning. They all don't look very good. Even some of these quantum names look like they're starting to pull a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, like QBTS, same thing. They're starting to pull a little bit here. That means the drone names could also start to pull.
Yep. And they have. ONDS did pull. How's RCAT doing? They had their presentation too.
But that's later.
Yeah. ONDS is already presenting. You're right. The RCAT one's in the afternoon here. RCAT actually holding stable right here.
Mm-hmm. Well done, Izzy.
Yeah, good stuff. As always.
I'm sorry about the stop on BBAI, Mr. Forsman, but did you make any money? You had to have made some money, right? Here we go with the AIFF.
Is it really going? All I had to do was take it off the screen. That 1330. Look at that pop.
Well, it popped and dropped. It went over 13, and then it just came right back in. Now they're starting to bid it up again. Oh man, this is hilarious.
Yeah, it is. Good to hear, Nick. That makes a couple of us.
Yeah, I know you're having a good day, man. You do great options play with BBAI. Well done on that. Well done. Can't say the same for XLO or CLMT. Those have not been good today.
Yeah, I was actually hoping to make more off that XLO trade. Oh well, at least I didn't lose on it. That's the key. At least I didn't let that thing go red.
You took what the market gave you and you said, okay, thanks.
Yep. Not going to overstay my welcome.
Yep.
Not on any of these names. SMCI. So after that initial push here out of the open, this thing is really kind of weakened.
You delay 3, earnings reports. That's kind of the expectation I would have. It looks like Kindly's starting to move back up. Great support from VWAP this whole time, on my VWAP anyway, which I have at 251. Let's see if it can recapture 275. Ever since we had that drop earlier this morning, it has not been able to recapture 275 despite trying to print over it. So that'll be the level I'd be watching for in KDLY. Looks like AIFF is trying to push back into 13 handle.
It's like we have another downtrend. So remember, one of the similar type of downtrend that we observed earlier, eventually we did get expanding volume and moved through it. This is the same setup that I'd look for again. Do we get expanding volume to move through that? If so, maybe we got something. But if not, oh yes, we're getting more of a blanket of snow here. HE, Hawaiian Electric, this actually trading up here today as well. Oh, when we first looked at this, wasn't this $15 right after those fires? We talked about maybe buying this for a dip a long time ago. Ended up not working. Took forever.
I remember when we were talking about, considering that. Let's see here. When exactly were those fires? Was that back in August of 23?
I think so.
Okay, because that's a big drop I see. So I'm just wondering if that's what it was.
Yeah, that's got those Lahaina fires.
Okay, so let's see. Let's just see if this can close over 1075. We have the 200-day SMA at 1074, and we're trying to make our way up over that. I would like to see it close above that multiple days. The first would have to be, over 1075. So let's see if we can just get that to start with today. I have no positions anymore. I think I'm just going to be done for now because this has been just a great morning and I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah, I don't have any day trade positions either at the moment. I'm all out. I'm all flat on that.
BBAI hasn't quite lost 9 yet, but I'd be a little concerned about it trying to get over 925 at this stage. The volume doesn't look as good as it was before when it was making its way up to that level. AIFF losing 13. Looks like CLMT is trying to come back around, but it still hasn't recaptured VWAP. Yeah, I guess this is kind of why I'm just not really looking at trading anything right now. Things are starting to slow down. I don't really see that many good setups. Everything that looks good has already had a pretty good run in it. So yeah, I think I'll just be happy with what I've got for now. If AIFF does that run to 16, well, then if you're in it, congratulations. And but I won't be part of that.
But the other thing is that, and this is kind of like I was saying yesterday with AIFF, you might come back here and the situation might change, right? This might gear up here in the afternoon. Looking at the volume, we definitely had more or higher elevated volume levels last longer into the morning, pretty much right up to the lunch hour. That's kind of dried up here, but like we've seen with some of these other names, sometimes that just the volume will show up out of nowhere in the afternoon, and if it does that, you are going to have a potential play on your hand. KDLY, by the way, to that 270 spot.
Oh yeah. Well,
TEM shook off the downgrade like Taylor Swift. This thing just kept moving higher here. Where is the top on TEM? What a great play that was. We were first talking about that in the 40 handle?
It's when Pelosi sells. But
I should have known.
But David Lynn with a good mention here regarding Hawaiian Electric. He says Charlie squawked earlier about a congressman buying shares. So here's an opportunity for us to look at the government trades tab.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll go to the calendar and I'll go to the squawk tab. Here you go. Trade is circulating that on Hawaiian Electric stock, California Congressional Representative Gil Soneros disclosed a purchase of up to $100,000 in Hawaiian Electric stock.
Yep. And there's a transaction date as of January 31st. It's on there. Now it kind of makes me wonder how long we've had this on here and didn't notice it. Because that seems like that's a little bit late news.
Great call, David.
Yeah, great call. Absolutely. Danny, with ALCE, was the corporate action an offering? Because that'll take it down. It looks like doesn't. I don't see any offering in the secondary offerings tab. Let's take a look at the news. General corporate statement here. What's going on? It got a delisting notice. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to read through this this Form 8K here, but it looks like it may have to do with its status on the exchange. So that would be, and it's an OTC stock, so very, very risky play here. I'm sorry that this hasn't been working out for you.
47, Ryan. Line, I have no idea what you're referring to, man. No idea.
He might be referring to SMCI. That'd be my guess. If we do see more upside in SMCI, I have 50 as a top end because that's the top end of a consolidation channel, and that channel was from August 28th to October 29th. All that price action, that sideways price action, is the channel I'm looking at right now. We were trading back in it earlier this morning. We're out of it now. 10. It was a TEM. That's where he's
47. Okay, that's when we started. Thank you, Lion. Thank you.
Ooh, Wiss saying kindly direct your attention to KDLY. It might not be done.
Hey, we just set up the trend line break like we did earlier.
Oh, no problem, Danny. I hope you find something that works out better for you than ALCE. Stick around here. We'll probably help you find something.
Stick around because in 4 minutes we're going to the story trading, folks. They've been killing it recently. And we have futures fever after that. So we got plenty of content here today. Been another good day, 13.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, BBAI. Nice looking candle here in this current on the 5-minute chart.
Yeah, I tell you what, I didn't even trade this one today, and I still had a good day. This thing has just been a huge ripper.
It's one of the ones I traded.
Gary has applied his first price target to BBAI, $1,000.
I don't want to say that's not correct. I mean, I look. It's going to be another Palantir. It can do whatever.
Palantir hasn't even gone to 1,000,
but it might one day.
I love the hyperbole. I'm laughing with you guys.
Oh yeah, kindly was a good mention. This thing's looking a little bit better now. Still
have that trend line break, dude.
Yep, still have that seller at $3. So we get past him, then we look. I think we make new highs in the intrasession.
Yeah, what was that high print there? 309, 307.
I think it's in between that 308.
Of course it is. Should have just moused over the candle then. It is in fact 308. You weren't even kidding. You weren't even trolling me. That was for real. AIFF, by the way, rolling back over to the VWAP. Watch if it holds. Again, you might get that second attempt. It might actually break down through there. AIFF.
Ed Golden, thank you very much for the compliment. Hope you stick around and come visit us tomorrow. We'll be back then as well. 100? Oh, he meant 100, not 1,000, says Gary.
Oh, well, in that case, a 10x from here, sure. That's a lot more doable.
Oh, yeah. I like it. Okay, so well, we're almost out of time here, and I'm just kind of looking for things to wrap up with. Like, it seems like BBAI still has some attention on it, but looking around these other ones, Kindly, that needs to break 3. It looks like it's about to. There it went.
Oh my god. That's how we're gonna end it right
That's
there.
how we're gonna end the show with
we're gonna end it on that win right there. What a call every time.
I will kindly make for the exit now. Folks, what a wonderful day. You know, that was a lot of fun today. I appreciate you showing up and bringing us all these good times, folks. Do you want to wrap up here? We only got like another minute.
Yeah. I want to make sure that we can actually give them an extra. Ben, can you hear me? You ready back there? Let's do it. 13. Let's wrap here. Oops. I've got to click the right buttons here. That's the big thing. Okay. Any closing words for the group before I bring on Ben and the rest of the story trading gang?
Oh, guys, you're awesome. You had a great day. I had a great day. Hopefully everybody had a great day. And I'll be back here tomorrow. So will Ryan. Let's have another great day tomorrow. It doesn't matter what breadth this market has. We're going to trade it. We're going to make money. We're going to have a good time. Folks, I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one.
All right. Sounds good, 13. Keep it real. We will see you tomorrow. Smoke Tuna saying, I did kindly say dip buy on Kindly, KDLY. Smoke Tuna, you're just getting it done again here. All right, folks, let's bring on Ben. Ben, how you doing, man?
Doing great.
Are you having as fun of a morning as we are?
We are. We're killing it.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. Let me bring your screen up. We'll bring on Rhett. We'll bring on the one and only Godfather. Let's go. What do you guys got on deck for today?
Well, you know what? It's just pick after pick just explodes. Hit a new high today, up 100% year to date. 100% year to date now. The latest winner, PBI. We played this one into earnings. PBI up 8% today into that earnings report. We're loaded up in our community on stock, on options, so that worked out really well. I'm chill. I'm relaxed.
All right. That is awesome. I'll say less. Take it away, Ben.
All right. Wow. A lot going on. Good stuff for a community. Market's a little bit challenged. But let me just start with Tesla because I know everyone's been looking at that. This has just been crashing day after day after day. We stepped into this, made a little bit on TSLL call options we bought in. We bought at the end of the day yesterday. This is the support I was looking at right there. 326.59, right? Let me pontificate about this a little bit. Tesla was maybe my highest conviction pick after the election. I made a huge deal about it, forecasting all-time new highs when this thing was about 280 on this gap open after election morning. And it worked, right? All on sentiment, all on the connection with Trump and robotaxi and deregulation that can help Musk and full self-drive, 288 to 488, now pulling back very sharply. And my contention to you is that it doesn't matter what the EV sales are. The folks who are buying from 288 to 488, their thesis is still intact and they're going to be buying the dip. So I was looking for entries in here. Hopefully this will hold. Potentially you can go all the way to 275 right here, and that will be maybe a generational buying opportunity if it gets that low. But this is the first major support was 360, which failed. But here's another big support that held yesterday. Bottom might be in. So that's Tesla. Rhett, Godfather, how you guys doing today?
Great.
Great.
Good.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm done trading for the day. I almost was done in the first 5 minutes, plus 9%. Thanks to you guys. So
yeah,
it was amazing.
I'm pretty much done. I think I'm up 5% for the day to new highs again, up 100%, and that was mostly due to Pitney Bowes. Wow. You know what? I'll let Godfather speak to the magnitude of the beat, but let's just say that we were perfect on this in terms of the levels too. This morning for a Discord, I said 905. You want to buy this thing, at 905. Resistance is at 10. Thing. Look at this, 901 to 995. So we just killed this on the thesis and to earnings on the execution. Godfather, you're the fundamental guy. So why don't you give your opinion? First of all, how did we know this was coming? We were in this with high conviction. Both you and I were on board, which is great when we both agree. But why don't you go through the history a little bit about how we made this trade work and maybe your thoughts going forward?
Yeah, so initially, I'm not that attracted to companies that are shrinking to grow, if you will. But this is a really unique situation in so much as that there's just so much meat on the bone and it wasn't being appreciated by the market. It's nice also to have an offset in a portfolio that's full of growth and momentum stocks. So when you can find something that's trading around 7-8 times earnings or around 5 times EV/EBITDA, there's really not a lot by way of downside. And time again, these guys have been setting metrics to the market and then beating them.
Yes.
And so they do a very good job, I must say. One of the best I've ever seen in terms of putting KPIs out there to the market. This is what we're going to do, and then every quarter, sort of gauging their progress against those KPIs. And in this quarter, on the call, it was a knock out of the park. They beat on every single metric. And, as I said in our Discord community after the call, my biggest takeaway from all of this is when I get down and sharpen my pencil on the numbers, it looks to me like they continue to sandbag on everything from, their debt refinance opportunities to their cash optimization, to the, straight up cash tax recovery that they're going to be able to obtain here, the cost savings on the top line, the contributions from some of their, sub revenue lines that people aren't that focused on, like global financial services, for example, which is an area that I'm post-quarter going to spend a little bit more time on. I think they're being too pessimistic on the product migration headwinds that they're seeing in Centec. So, look, I think that despite what they showed in terms of progress, they've given themselves the ability to beat that bar again in the upcoming quarters. I think that it's still.
By the way, people are asking which stock we're talking about. It's PBI, Pitney Bowes.
Yes, Pitney Bowes. So look,
are we not showing fully here? Can you see the ticker? Yeah, you can see the ticker.
Yeah, I can see it. The screen showing.
Okay.
And so the last thing I'll say on this is, multiples are a function of growth and margin. And they've been able to improve margins materially through cost cutting for the most part, but also optimizing operations by doing tuck-in acquisitions. A big part of their pre-sort business, it's a volume business. So it's about getting to scale. Now nobody can really compete with them. So, they're going to be able to price themselves into new business. And, essentially all these guys that are doing it internally are going to now outsource to them. So the one thing that they mentioned on the call, and they said, point blank, you're going to hear more from us about this going forward, is actual growth, which has been the one part of the puzzle that's been missing. So there's a lot of ways that you can skin the valuation here and get to a number on a fundamental basis that's close to 15. But the market's not going to take it there. It's not going to expand the multiple and get it there unless you can actually start to show that this is a business that can return to growth. And they've already, basically sowed the seeds of that. And I think you're going to see more of that, and you're going to see multiple expansion. So there's very, very little downside to the stock here.
Very safe stock to hold.
Yeah.
Stock to hold. I have a big position in my retirement account of this right now.
So, one of the things that we do, and I think do really well in our community, is isolating names that deserve to be core positions and then trading around them. Buying dips and selling rips, knowing when, the market is being too brutal, or knowing when the market is being, too enthusiastic. And that can really juice returns over time. But, longer term, just buying and holding this thing, it's a safe name. And I think this management team has proved itself out. And I think there's a move to double digits here. So that's a lot of upside on a 960.
Yeah. And
mid double digits, I should say, $15.
Yeah, Sidoti came out, increased the price target this morning from 15 to 17. I do want to back you up on that you think they're sandbagging. I forgot to mention this last night, But just a couple weeks ago, they guided for revenue 505, I believe, to 515, and they came in at 516. And they must have known that they were going to beat that 515 when they set that range, right? That was after the quarter ended, I think, when they put that out, right?
Yeah, and the
So,
big thing that I'm looking at here is the free cash flow generation.
oh, it's
And
huge.
when I go through and I look at the sort of refi opportunities that they have on the debt, and they were asked about it a couple times in the quarter, and they one of the analysts was basically like, "Why are you guys not more enthusiastic? Because I've crunched the numbers and I get to X." And they were like, "Well, we'll just maintain. We share your enthusiasm, but we're going to maintain our numbers." Which essentially is reinforcement to my view that they're holding back, which is what good management teams do. So
okay, great. Moving on, I want to mention Alibaba. By the way, also, yes, I just want to say from a trade perspective. So we talked about fundamentals and value. I'm what I do at Story Trading. I time markets. I'm all about timing things and going heavy for short periods of time around the catalyst. So going into today, PBI was my largest position. It no longer is my largest position. I took a big chunk off the table. We'll see where I end up at the end of the day on PBI. My largest position is now Geo. I'll talk about that in a second. But I do also want to mention Baba. Man, this thing, what a call on this. And I wish I had call options on this yesterday, but I chickened out at the end of the day. And I had 117 calls expiring this week. They got into the money this morning. So kicking myself on this one, but that partnership with Apple to develop some AI features or something, that to me, it was obvious you would break 117.82 this week, and that's exactly what happened. But I misplayed. I didn't have the balls to hold it overnight. So, hey, gave you a good price target that hit in our community, but I didn't execute on it well. So I know a lot of eyeballs on Alibaba as well. As far as earnings, there were a bunch of earnings reports this morning. Generac was one of them. I gave a 151 target. Another one that I gave there it is, 151. This morning when the thing was like 140 or something right here, I gave a 151 plus target, but I didn't play it. Story of my life. Anyway, there it is at 151. Let me just see if there's any other ERs that are of note that we want to touch on. UPST, also another one. UPST with that great earnings, but you played this, Godfather. You killed it. After that report, I gave an 88.95 target. It hit there, 89.47. Another one I didn't play, even though I gave that beautiful target. So a lot of people making money on my picks, but that was your pick. I just gave the targets. Good job on UPST. Any comments on that?
yeah, I just want to make a comment on that because this is a name where, and this is what I do. If they're reporting in and it's a sector that has a macro or fundamental basis to it that I really like, and I won't get into the basis for why I like fintech, but it's an area that we've been trafficking in a lot with success. I look at the last sort of 3 or 4 quarters and see how the market has responded to their earnings, and in this case, the last quarter, Q3 that they reported, the stock was up 46%. Q2 when they reported it was up 40%. Going back to Q1, it was up 10%. So for the last 3 quarters in a row, the market has received the quarters well. This thing has a 25% short interest. And if you look at where the stock was relative to when they beat the last time, it's essentially flat to the last quarter. In fact, it was just sort of filling the last earning gap on the chart. So the setup was great. And that's what really attracted me to it. Without going into the fundamentals of the business and how they beat, and they did beat across the board from originations right to margins. But I'm looking at what we've got coming up here after market today. Some of the names that I'm focused on are software names: AppLovin, APP, Hubs, HUBS, Pega, PEGA. And, there's a couple of others that have been really great market performers like Bros. But I look at all the charts and yes, you go back and you look at Bros, for example. The last quarter, the stock was up 28%, but the problem is it's moved 43% since then. AppLovin, the stock gapped up 46% in the last quarter, but then it subsequently moved another 53.5%. The same thing on Pega. It's up 30% since the last quarter, where the stock moved 15% on the quarter. So it really bears looking at the charts to see what the setup is like. And in all of these cases, the valuations are high.
Yeah.
So I don't see another upstart, is I guess what I'm getting at in terms of setup. So if you're looking to play quarters, which is always a bit of a dodgy game, that's certainly one thing you should look at, and it's a formula that worked on Upstart. And if you can look to replicate that, you might see some more success.
Speaking of ERs, one of the things I like to do best is play the ER anticipation runs. And you had a good big pick. You brought it to my attention and the community's attention to play the ER anticipation run on SMCI. This was beautiful teamwork, because when he called this, I digged in there and I gave a 43.50 target, and I sold it like 43.40 on that ER anticipation run. And I didn't look at the report, but like, I'm not interested anymore. I think like a lot of times that's the best risk reward, is to play the run into the report. It's another way.
Your levels are insane. I don't know how you picked that number, but it was you pretty much ticked the top. I sold too early, but you're absolutely right. The play there, both from from a risk reward standpoint, but now in hindsight, it was also the right play. Was to trade this from 36 to 43 and then just ignore the report. It's
I'll tell you where it was.
Well.
I'll tell you where the level came from. It was after I kept increasing the levels during the day, but like after it broke 39.80, right? Then the top of the next candle there was 43.40, and that's where it came from, by the way. So anyway, a little bit of a method to my madness. All right, so I have to look at what ERs are after the close. I haven't made that list yet. In any case,
Robinhood is also after the close. I know a lot of people are focused on that.
Yeah, I own that.
As well as Trade Desk, but like I said, I don't see anything here that I want to play. I just don't like the setups going in. So
generally, what I do for ERs is I make a list of names that I'm familiar with. Either I've researched the company before, or I'm familiar with their product as a consumer. So I kind of understand their business to some extent. And I make a list of those companies, and then those are the ones that I'll look at the reports after the fact. I don't play a lot of ERs going into the ER. PBI was an exception, and it worked. But what I do is I'll look for the best report of the night. I'll go in and I'll find something that like beat on top line and bottom line, especially the guidance. And you look for like bullish commentary, and then a lot of times I'll play after the fact, right? I'd rather pay up after the fact on a really good beat rather than buying into the report. So, all right, so that's ERs. Let's see here. What else do we want to cover? I'll touch on Geo a little bit, but I can't give everything away. That's a new top pick in our community. I'll come to it in a minute and give you a little bit of a tease on that. NBIS, this is your pick. I mean, initially came from Citron in our community, and you really took it to the next level with your research. And it's become, is this still like a top holding for you?
It is. I have been taking profits here in the 40s, just lightening up as as we go. That said, we do have the earnings coming next week. It's still completely undercovered, right? There's a couple of sort of bucket shops that have put out some numbers on it. There's some savvy, sharp ex-commentators that have put numbers out on it. Anyone that's actually ground the numbers on this gets to a number that's in the 50 to 70 to 110 range, depending on what assumptions they're using. So either way, they're much higher than where we are. We have had a nice run. The market as well is looking a little bit overbought here near term. So it's always good to take profits along the way. Yeah. But I do think that the real sort of come out party for this stock could really be next week, because I firmly believe that every bulge bracket firm, these guys have already engaged Goldman Sachs, to look for a strategic investment to fund the Avride division. And I think that ultimately gets carved out. You can see my thread on X on that. I think there's up to $10 a share in value that's not being realized for the autonomous driving subsidiary, which has deals with Uber and others. So, these guys, this is the way the world works. So you want these corporate finance mandates, you got to cover the stock from a research standpoint. So I expect Goldman, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, all of these guys to start covering the stock. And that alone, I think, gets this to a 5 handle, because I do expect that they'll find fundamental value there. and the multiple expansion will come with their endorsement.
Yeah, a lot of relative strength on this stock. A lot of days it bucks the market trend. A lot of not institutional coverage yet, but a lot of big influencers and authors and articles on Seeking Alpha. There was a big mention on CNBC on Friday. So I have a target of 43.60 to 48, I guess the 200 DMA, which is about 48.50 right now. Actually, you know what? I'm going to downgrade that top target to this gap here at 47.28. So 43.66 to 47.28. I don't know if that needs the earnings report or will run up into it before the earnings report. I'm actually hoping it'll do that, run up into it, anticipating the earnings report. That I'll take some off the table there in that range between that 43 and 47. But in any case, Rhett, if there's any questions in the comments, feel free to jump in. I'm not looking at those at any time.
Sounds good. There's only one asking if the Godfather's from Canada because he used the word dodgy.
That's very sleuthy, and you're bang on.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
let's
one
look
last-
at you real quick. Can you pull up you, Ben?
Unity?
Some...
Unity stuff. Oh, yeah, I mean, I've
Ju-
never.
No, what you
Just
like?
one
YOU.
quick thing before we
Oh,
leave
YOU.
NBIS.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to make the point that, look, I think this thing ultimately will get a premium valuation because it is the only sort of pure play data center that's public. Lots of people focused on CoreWeave coming public later in the year and all the rest of it. But until then, these guys are the guys. And the other thing that's going to come here soon is we're going to get clarity on just how much of the $700 million investment that went into NBIS about 2 months ago came from NVIDIA. And I think that'll make headlines again. And of course, every time an NVIDIA investment gets headlines, it adds focus to a stock.
Okay, someone's asking about YOU, Clear Secure. I'm not familiar with this company. Big pop here on the daily, right up to the 20 DMA. $3.3 billion company, identity company, secure identity platform, multi-layered infrastructure. I'm not familiar with this company. Let me see if there's news here this morning. 11 hours ago, Clear to announce fourth quarter and full year 2024 earnings. It could be a earnings anticipation run into the report, but the report's February 26th, so something other than that might be in play here. It is very oversold. That's my first look at it, but I don't know anything about it. Godfather, do you know this company?
I do not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm seeing something in there. Unusual options flow for this one as well, right?
Yeah, now. That's nice. That's nice. Let me tell you something about that. Okay, you got a few minutes. Okay, unusual options flow, technical traders. Look, I go on FinTwit and I see all these traders, and 90%, 95% of the traders out there and the methodologies are purely quantitative based on the chart and on options flow, right? And I think those are lagging indicators, right? The way I look at the markets move based on a delta of information. So I always start with the catalyst, before looking at any quantitative data on the chart. And based on my experience, it does much better. I'll give you an example. Okay. ASTS. This was our biggest winner of the year. Okay. Look at this. See this day right here? January 30th at the open. This became my highest conviction pick and the largest pick in our community. Okay. Largest pick for me in my allocation at an open of 1850. I was basically calling for, break of the 20s imminently. I was like, it's going to happen in the next day or so. And it happened. Back here, there was no options flow yet. The volume was low. There was nothing going on, right? So how do we know that? Because I'm looking for a delta of information. I'm looking for a catalyst. And there was a very important catalyst that day. That day, Vodafone came out and showed their demo of the broadband service. This is satellite technology to a phone. And this was a day after sentiment was really low because the day prior, T-Mobile announced with Starlink that they're not doing, instead of working with Globalstar, they're working with Starlink to do the text messaging, whatever. So sentiment got really low. And the next day, that sentiment was turned on its head because the whole promise of AST Space Mobile versus Starlink is broadband internet on existing phones. It doesn't need a modification of a phone like the day before announcement. The iPhone had to modify it. It's not just text messaging like the day before announcement. So one day later, the whole day, this news was out. It was doing nothing the whole day. Okay. So we piled in to common shares, call options, and we predicted this move. And to me, that's where the money is made. So if anyone like shows me a chart or gives me a name, look at the options flow, I'm like, I don't care. Tell me the catalyst, right? Now, so, sometimes the catalyst is hidden, and I get it. Like sometimes it's like inside information and you have no way of knowing it. But I would tell you in many, many cases, I would say even a majority or large majority of cases, the information, the catalyst that happens before the options flow, the catalyst that happens before the technical moves is somewhere in the public domain. Okay. You just got to be plugged in. And to me, I think people only look at the charts and the options flow. They're just being lazy. I spend 18 hours a day doing this, man. I spend 18 hours a day. I have an AST newsfeed. I have a what do you call a list? I have an AST list, ASTS list in my X with all the top researchers of ASTS. So I just go in there and I see all the latest news on ASTS, and I was able to identify the inflection point catalyst. The catalyst always comes before the technicals. The catalyst always come before the options flow, and that's how you make the huge money. And that's what story trading is about. That's why I'm called the chief story trader over there. So don't talk to me just about technicals and options flow. Like, I don't care, man. I don't care. Okay. It could be people who are just like gambling. It could be that you're too late. I want to be early, and I want to know. I want to interpret that catalyst for myself. I want to have an independent interpretation. What's the impact of that catalyst on sentiment? What's the impact of the catalyst on fundamentals? And then predict the technical breakout. That's why my official trade account is up 100% year to date. And we're talking big money. We're talking multiple six figures in this account, not like 100% year to date doing options. Like most of it's common shares, by the way. Almost the entirety of that 100% return is common shares. And it's just by uncannily accurate predictions and timing of markets. So you can time markets. Sorry to go on that rant, but if you talk to me about a stock, first tell me the catalyst. Don't first tell me the options or the technicals. All right, moving on. All right, look, I'll just give it a little tease about Geo, okay? Because I want to keep this now. It's still early. Okay, it's still early. I want to keep this for our subscribers in our Discord, but I'll tell you this. Geo was our first big trade of the year that was only eclipsed by ASTS just recently. We predicted this basically months in advance, probably 6 to 7 weeks in advance, with perfect timing of when the move would happen and the magnitude of the moves. It was crazy. It's all on paper. It's all on video, everything. All right, Geo, huge move. It was an inauguration play, so it was easy. The dates were so easy to predict when this would start moving on inauguration. It was so easy to predict. It would peak out. We said sell half on January 17th and sell the other half on the morning of January 20th, and we said that weeks and weeks and weeks in advance. Our target range based on a combination of fundamentals and technicals was 35 to 38. It hit 36.50. Just beautiful. And guess what? I'm back in. A catalyst happened yesterday, a quiet catalyst. Not a lot of people know about it. If you're plugged in and you're looking for it, you know about the catalyst. That catalyst happened yesterday, and I want to tell you, I think the bottom's in again, and Geo is my largest position. We're going for round 2. All right? 11:26. Mic drop. That was my mic drop. What's up? Brett, Godfather?
Boom. Looks like IWM. Well, I gotta pull it back up here on my laptop.
Yeah, I had a little bit of a hedge today on IWM puts on that hot CPI. Hasn't really paid me yet, though.
I got paid twice today from that.
Yeah. I always say I'm not good at executing. You're much better than me than executing. I'm good at predicting and playing like big numbers, and like I went into PBI today with a 30% common share position. Now I have a 20% common share position in Geo. Like I go in big and I wait for the big moves. Like day trading and tactically, like I am just terrible at it. It's not my thing. I'm terrible. It's called trading chop. I'm terrible at trading chop. Godfather, on the other hand,
does it all.
Not only is he a great fundamental investor, but somehow he does not get shaken. He is awesome at trading chop, buying the dips, selling the rips, on every time frame, on intraday time frames, on swing time frames. He is so good at buying the dips, selling the rips. That's not my game. That's not my game. I just build.
He's like a Navy SEAL on it.
Yeah, I just wait for big positions and I wait for my catalyst and I make big money. That's how I do it. But
I'm only successful on the names that I have conviction in.
Yeah, that's
and
true. You have to have the
I,
conviction.
I almost I almost never just randomly trade a name. If it's a core holding and I'm buying dips and selling rips, I'm generally much better at that than just trying to come in and buy or sell a dip or a rip on a name that I don't really know that well. Hey, can I take 1 second to just point out something that I see in the market that I think is worthy of attention?
Yep.
And Ben, you've done a great job isolating, and we isolated it for our community, but you did a great job of adding it to your portfolio and holding it in large size. And the name is Root.
Oh yeah, that's my largest position now.
Yeah,
Oh,
and it's
I've
been a
been in
very
this for
large position of mine as well. And the premise here is that if you have the data, you win. Now that we have the AI compute, and these guys have the data. So it's a classic example of AI out in the wild at work. They are able to price car insurance policies better than anybody else because they have the driving data, and they can price the risk properly. Data, it's all about data with AI now that the compute is there. And one of the names that reported yesterday that's up 21% today is Confluent, CFLT. And why this is important is that this is managing data in corporate ecosystems. This is Databricks. This is Snowflake. There's a tailwind rumor that Databricks, which is rumored to go public at some point, might actually take out Confluent, and maybe they go and do a reverse merger and go public that way. But again, it just sort of reinforces this theme that as much as 2024 was all about hardware and the bricks and mortar and AI picks and shovels, it's the guys that can monetize the data through software tools that are going to be the big winners. And so there's another name that's coming up it's not quite the same as a Databricks or a Snowflake or a Confluent, but it's MongoDB. They have lagged. If you look at the year to date, on Snowflake, it's up 23%. Confluent with this earnings move, it was a real laggard here too. And I knock myself for not playing it because I was looking at it, but it's now up 28% year to date. Mongo has really lagged. Put it on your calendars. The report on the 3rd of March. You don't have to play the earnings, but I do expect that there will be some run.
I think actually, I think MongoDB is actually my biggest loss since we started our Discord. I played it after the earnings report here. It looked like an earnings beat, but there was some metric that they didn't like, the market didn't like, and I understood it late. So yeah. But yeah, okay. Anyway, Ryan, how you doing?
All right, real good stuff there. I came in at the tail end there when you guys were talking about Root. Remember, they do insurance for Carvana too.
I know, I love it.
So that was a really good discussion there. And we got a question about Confluent earlier. Godfather, appreciate the insight there. So real good stuff from you guys yet again.
Awesome.
Looks like you got a friend today.
Me?
Yeah, right behind you.
Oh yeah, he goes where the money goes. He goes
nice.
And when I say money, I mean the bird. He's staring at the bird. So in any case, folks, really good stuff here. We're gonna see you next Wednesday. I'm gonna get everyone over to Futures Fever.
All right, see you later.
All right, take care.
All right.
Have a great day.